What is up, everybody? Spidey here, and as always, I hope you're having a marvelous day. I'm in Florida near the beach, but I'm with my friend Manu, the one and only 9.9 Newsstand. How's it going, man?
I'm really well and very happy to be back.
I missed you last week. Welcome
Miss
back
you too.
to the Marvel Show.
Thank you.
Little bit of an unusual time. It is Sunday night, 10 o'clock where I'm at. What,
Man, you're in
8
Florida?
o'clock you're at, right? 7 o'clock? Where are you at?
8 o'clock, 8:01. You're in Florida.
I'm
I
in
didn't know you were
Florida,
in
but I'm in that
Florida.
part of Florida that has that's still in Central Time Standard Time Zone. So I think it's like right before it goes to the East Coast.
Okay.
But
Oh, is Alonzo about to pop up? Is he sitting to the left of you right
he,
now?
Alonzo is still like 8.5 hours away.
Okay. Okay.
Florida
Florida's a big place.
is
Yeah.
is a long place, that's for sure. But happy to be with you, and happy to
You
be
too, my
with
friend.
everyone out there that is watching us tonight. And if you're catching the replay, thank you. Appreciate you being here.
Yeah.
Kind of got a big show because we got a big topic.
Yeah.
You excited about it?
I am, but I'm a little afraid because I haven't watched the movie and I'm
Oh
gonna watch it
no, oh
tomorrow. I
no.
know I'm gonna watch it tomorrow and
You
I'm
know to
excited
watch it
about it.
tomorrow. Okay, well, we're
Yeah.
just, we're going to build the anticipation for you. And for those who have
Beautiful.
not seen the movie, the strong desire is to not spoil anything for anyone. So if you're in the chat, you've seen it, we're all excited about it if you've seen it, I think. But
Hmm.
let's not spoil anything for anyone, but let's do say hello to some friends.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Our friend Marvel Cards, Nostalgic Vibes and Collectibles. How about that?
I love it. What's going on,
I
Marvelous?
love it.
How are you? How are you?
We got Nurk LIRL saying, doing good. Mando's
Hey, hello,
who
hello.
loves the Spider Verse.
It's a good place. It's a good
Uh,
place to be. I'm bouncing from Spider-Verse to Spider-Verse. I just got out of Dave's Spider-Verse. I'm in Justin's Spider-Verse now. Wow.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Dave is going to join us a little later. I had to have
he
my
will.
one-on-one time with you first, though.
No, I think that's beautiful. Yeah,
He says, "I love it so much. Had to collect these comics." So he's really enjoying the Spider Verse.
it's a
We got
fun time.
Marvel Cards collection. Hey gang,
What's up? What's up?
D Boy Purr said, "Let's
D-boy, what's
go."
going on?
We got Goot vibes.
Good vibes. Good evening.
Yeah, yeah. High State. What's up, my friend? RMS Collects. Good evening, Justin and Manu. Good to be back from vacation.
RMS. Okay, I'm going to talk about you more
Okay.
tonight for sure, but great to see you. I hope your vacation went well. Real quick, we did a trade. We'll talk more about this later.
Oh man, yeah.
Yeah, I'm so excited.
I'm on
Thank you, my
vacation,
friend.
and I picked up this today, I should
Oh,
say.
nice.
Yeah, I don't know if you can see that.
You got double corner boxes.
Double corners, and then this says beyond.
Oh, okay, got you.
And this says amazing, beyond amazing. On the
That
back it
is
says
sick.
whip. Got it at the Disney store. It's a little big, but it's the smallest they had.
What is it? Is it like a
It's a
oversized
large.
medium, or you had
It's
to
a
buy the large?
large. Man, I wanted a
Got you.
medium so bad I could stand it, but they didn't have it.
I hear you. It looks good though, man.
Thanks. Dio6 says, good evening. Hello, my
Good
friend.
evening. We were just hanging out. Cards and comics, my
Yeah.
man. Again, we were just hanging out. I love the transition. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Moved right on over, didn't they?
Yeah.
And we've got Mike. What's up, man?
Mike, what's going on, my man? How are you? How
Tom.
are you? Good evening.
Tom was here last week. Pancake
Yeah,
Analytics.
I watched the episode, so that's good. I watched it. I saw you guys, just have a beautiful like 3.5 hours. So good evening, my friend. Sorry that we weren't there together, but maybe that will happen one day as well.
Tell you, I was like, hour, 2 hours tops. I had to
Oh,
shut
it
it
kept
down.
going.
I was like,
Yeah,
okay, it was a good conversation. I was like, we got to wrap it up.
absolutely. Absolutely.
And what's interesting is I did have, I like prepared some questions, and we never got to them. So,
That's when you know it's good.
yeah,
That's when you know it's good because it fills in itself, right? And you're like, well, dang, forget planning.
yep, that's exactly right.
Yeah,
We've got a Hello Across the Spider Verse was amazing. Totally agree.
I'm hearing it, man. I'm hearing it really, really was.
Okay, so I'm glad I'm seeing this. ATS was amazing because I was wanting to abbreviate it earlier today, and I was like,
Hmm.
what's the Spider-Man Across the Universe? Is it SATS or is it ATS? Is it
Oh, okay. I
AM,
like it.
ATS?
Spider across. Wait, what is it? Across the Spider Verse, right?
The title, the official title is Spider-Man: colon Across the Spider-Verse.
Oh, so it would have been like SMATS. Oh, SMATs.
Smats. What about the
SMATs.
V? Is it Spider hyphen verse? Do you like? Do you have to have the verse in there? Do you consider that one word?
Oh, is Spider Verse hyphenated or is it actually one word on the title?
Well, that's a good question. In my mind, it's hyphenated. Somebody tell me if I'm wrong.
Because Spider-Man's hyphenated, so that makes
Mm-hmm.
sense. But I've never seen it abbreviated. I like ATS. It is fine with me. Watched ATS with a migraine today. Don't recommend. Cody says. I hear there's a
Oh,
lot to look at. I heard visually, and I know I'm skipping. We'll catch up.
yeah.
And I heard visually, there's a lot of really amazing things. You look at this corner, look at that corner. You want to pause the movie, but you can't because you're
Mm-hmm.
in a theater. I just stole that from someone on Dave's live, by the way.
That's
Thank you
that's
for the
that's
idea.
no, that's great. And I'm looking forward to being able to take it in that manner. When I'm first watching it, I'm more emotionally engaged than I am
Yeah.
visually engaged. And look, it's obviously a visual movie, so I'm not saying I wasn't noticing how incredible it was, but I was definitely more concerned with like what was going on in the characters,
Enjoying
in
the
the
film,
way
the
Mhm.
primary messaging of the film. Yeah.
Exactly. And somebody just cranked something, so I hope you don't hear that. But
It's not
anyways,
that loud. We ain't got
okay,
to
good.
worry about it. It's not that loud.
But yeah, I'm looking
Doom
forward to
Card,
watching it
my
visually.
man. Yeah. Hello. Hello. Hello.
VB says hi, Justin. Manu, enjoy the movie tomorrow. It moved him.
Thank you. Thank you, my friend. I'm looking forward to it. And good evening. It's
It'll
nice to see
shrink.
you.
What is this? It'll shrink. Oh, this. Okay. I was like, was
Oh,
he
the hoodie.
talking tonight at dinner? My daughter, we have my two daughters, and then they have two friends that are with them, and they were asking what would their superhero powers be.
Okay.
And my daughter looks at her friend and goes, like, you would be the Hulk, but only your head would transform into the Hulk. Like from here up.
That's hilarious,
It was
dude.
so funny. It's
That's
like
hilarious.
just Hulk mad. And that's it. That's all you get. Right here.
That is funny, man. It doesn't rip anything but your hat.
No, yeah, don't let him get his teeth on you.
Yeah.
Vintage Lord Canada, what's up, dude? How's it
Good
going?
evening. Good evening.
Black Goo, Bay Area in the building. Let's go.
In the building, my man. How are you?
True Blue Collectibles. Okay, let's say he said, good evening. Watched Spider-Verse movie last night, finally. He has been pulling some
Good
really
evening.
nice cards. He's been open up Marvel Allure, the newest Upper
Oh
Deck
yeah, the
release that
latest.
came out this week.
Yeah.
And he pulled a 5 of 6 Infinity Stone Captain Marvel. And some other stuff like sketches and out of 50s and stuff is
An out of 6 though.
out of 6. Yeah.
Ooh, congrats. Wow.
That. Yeah. Other than the one of ones, like those are
You
that's
posted a
as low
pretty
as it gets.
important warning about those cards though. Like
I
that's one of
did.
those really important things.
I did, and I want to talk about it. And I'm time wise, just with the family here on vacation, I'm not going to interrupt that, but may make a quick like little warning video. But basically,
Okay.
is that the packs appear to be mapped, meaning which pack the hit's going to be in when you're opening up the hobby boxes. And so you got to be really careful, especially in this world of people like buying into breaks and you're getting packs. If someone's not really doing the job of randomizing them well, then people are going to get hurt, right? And then same way with breakers. If breakers don't realize their map, they have many people buying in that they only buy the pack they knows the hit, right? So it kind of goes both ways. The
Exactly.
information, but yes, definitely pay attention, be awake. Don't sleepwalk into buying into a break or something like that. And the thing that always worries me is like 5 years from now when people are like doing some really naughty stuff, right? Where they just they know how to break a seal, go in and get a pack out, replace it, that kind of naughty stuff. Like
Sure.
Just not good when sets are mapped like that.
It's not. And I really appreciate you putting that out there because that is just as incredibly important. There's no other way to say it.
Yeah, from what we've seen or what I've seen, again, it's a narrow sample, but it just the evidence appears to be there that pack number 1 is going to have what's called an orange slice, which is 1 per box. So it's not rare, but it is 1 in 8 packs. pack number 3 or 4 is going to have a hit in it, I think is what it is, and then pack number 6 has the hit in it, so to speak. And then the last pack has another hit, but not necessarily like a numbered card. So it's they do appear to be mapped. Be careful. You're seeing a lot of, like, if you pull one character, you know which character is going to come next. You know, we've seen that before, but not where the hits are in certain packs.
Predictability seems to be not a great thing when you're buying sealed product.
I mean, look, ripping packs is supposed to have a gambling element. You know,
Course.
you're not supposed to be able to count cards. You know,
exactly right.
Kick you out of the casino for that.
Definitely. Where are Bob A? Good evening.
Yeah. Then William says, "What the heck, guys, supposed to be doing on Tuesday?" Well, Tuesday night, I know I'm going to be with my family, so it was important to pivot this week. We're episode 60, man.
It's a beautiful thing, man.
Unbelievable.
It is a beautiful thing. Absolutely.
Say hello to T Bear. How's it going?
T Bear, what's up, my man? How are you?
FC3SGXL says, "We just saw Spider-Verse today with the family. Tell me what you think about it without spoiling
Definitely.
it."
Yeah.
William says he's saving his money for the new Midnight Sun set when and if it ever happens. I mean,
wait, Midnight, like Ghost Riders?
The set's in play. Artists have been working on the sketches. Look, it would make sense to get it in the fall. Like, could you imagine if like thematically came out at the right time? That'd be great. I just wouldn't count on it.
Sorry. Interesting. Oh, let's see right prior to that, FC3S says Spider-Man movie should now be called SMCU, which is just nice because, MCU, SMCU is just, I get what's happening there. I like that.
That is good. Is this the Sony Multiverse Cinematic Universe?
Right? Exactly, right?
Or the Sony Marvel Cinematic Universe, I guess is what he's saying. That's a better way to say it. Sony Marvel Cinematic Universe.
There's so many ways to play that. It's really fun. Ryan, I'm gonna have some fun with that comment in a second. I'm gonna try not to turn this into a sales stream because I don't want that to become. I mean, no, secretly I do want that to become, but I'm respecting what this is.
Let's see how the show develops tonight. I don't want to lose Manu because, man, it gets you. You're fired up.
I love it too much. What is Matt saying here? Matt, good evening.
Interesting question. As collectors, if we walk into a comic shop and they open a box, do you think we have an obligation to explain the situation and not exploit it? It's like that old style, like when you were a kid. I don't know. At least this is what I remember.
Open the box, put it on the shelf.
You just put it on the shelf. There was never the thought that we could afford the whole box. So we went in and we got like 2 packs. That was it.
Yeah.
So you walk in. The box looks fresh and touched.
Mm-hmm.
Do you go in? Do you say, "Hey, store owner, I see that all 8 packs are still here. Do you know if anybody's like messed with these?"
Right.
No, but I just opened that. All right, can I just have any pack? Like, what are you doing? Are you doing that? Are you like just you just picking up pack 6, or do you say, "Hey, look, just want to let you know, these boxes are mapped. We know the hits in pack 6. I don't want to just take the hit out of the box and kind of ruin it for anybody else."
Yeah.
Do you say anything?
Me personally, I think knowing that information lends to such a fun conversation that I'm going to mention it out of the interest in having the conversation. I'm going to be like, "Hey, shop owner, you know what a fun fact is? That box that you just opened, I know exactly where the important pack is. So you should probably shuffle it up for fairness." And I would just do it to have I wouldn't even want to buy a pack. I'm just the guy talking about it because it's an interesting thing to have a conversation with the shop owner about. Now, if I had an interest in the pack and my motivation was to buy the 1 pack and then go flip it for some money, I can put myself into the shoes of that person and understand why, knowledge is your edge. And you could essentially, if the shop owner says, "Take any pack you want," you could put yourself in a position where you don't feel bad about it. But my relationship with those packs and that shop owner would be more like, I'm more interested in having the conversation and exposing everything because I think it's interesting rather than taking advantage of the fact that I might buy a more valuable pack. I'm not so concerned with the pack as I am how cool it is to know that, and I like the shop owner should know that.
In the relationship. So it
Yeah,
does bring
yeah.
up a question, though. I have a follow up here. I like what Nert says. With great knowledge comes great responsibility. Way to know your
Correct.
audience, man. That's
Yeah,
awesome. So,
definitely.
at what point does like like the knowledge of something is your advantage
Hmm.
to, or like at what point, like is it like 8 years down the road? It's like, okay, well, I have this knowledge now it's just my advantage. There's not like, after 8 years, people who need to know should know. You see
That's
what I'm saying?
fascinating. Yeah, yeah,
Like,
that's really interesting.
if you walk into a comic book store and there's a long box there, and you're like, I have an advantage. I know that, with all the work I pour into the hobby, or the theme, or what the character, the books, whatever it is. You're
Hmm.
like, hey, I know how to look for this thing. Now I'm going to look for it.
Yeah,
When does it
truth
become
be
that?
told, well, speaking personally, truth be told, that there are certain advantages that I do have, that because
Mhm.
I'm aware of it and I've learned over time, and I don't share those with people. There might come a time that I do, but I don't, and I don't feel bad about it at all. I feel like that's part of the treasure hunt. If you've
Yeah.
got if everyone's got a treasure map, but you know something because you put in the time to figure out some decoding mechanism, and you actually know what some of the messaging means,
Mhm.
well, that's why you're going to win, and that's why it's fun. You know,
Right.
and I wouldn't want to have that be exposed. But at some point in time, I may, for certain things. But with this pack of cards thing, I don't know why I just see it differently. It doesn't feel like the same advantage. It's not
I
like a
think
in the wild hunting
I think I know
advantage.
why it
It's
is different.
tell me, yeah,
Let me use my own words here. Like, I think it's different because the integrity of what it's supposed to be was negatively impacted from the beginning.
yes, it was,
It wasn't like it's something that developed over time due to the nature of the market and the situation or whatever, right?
yeah.
This was like day one, it was wrong.
You're right.
And I
You're
think
right.
that
It's almost like righting the wrong from the beginning. Like the
mhm.
company screwed up. Let's make this what it's supposed to be. It's our duty to do so to a certain extent, right?
Yep.
Um, there's a lot of comments I want to get to, but the mapped boxes, I didn't know that's what they were referred to, but I
I
love
mean,
that.
that's the word I'm using.
It's perfect. It's
I'm not a
perfect.
technical guy. Just
Shoot,
it just
no,
makes
no,
sense to call it that.
I love it. Mapped boxes in an era where we are doing pack breaks, we're trusting people we don't know, it's a bad thing. All right. If you know you're getting into a product with mapped boxes and you're buying them online for someone that like you don't really, really know, you haven't established trust, you almost cannot do it unless you're willing to accept the fact that there's a high likelihood that you're going to get ripped off. Period.
Hmm. Hmm.
You're putting a gamble on a gamble. And if you want to do that, that's absolutely fine. But that's a problem, man. Mapped boxes doesn't seem to make sense with me unless the company simply assumes that all of these are. No, they can't assume that. They know we're in an era of individual packs being sold in breaks. They know that.
They know, and maybe we'll discover like it was like the initial batch or something, and it cleans itself up later. But I don't
Maybe
know.
so. Maybe
Um,
so.
so we got a comment here from Zindane. He says, "I work at my LCS on the weekends. We have an ultra pro pack display case that holds packs we sell. When we open a new box of Magic or Yu-Gi-Oh, we shuffle the packs and place them in the slot, which I think is great."
I wanna read this. Can I read that one more time? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I work at my LCS on the weekends. We have an Ultra Pro pack display case that holds the packs we sell. When we open a new box of Magic or Yu-Gi-Oh, we shuffle the packs and place them as perfect. Perfect. Thank you for sharing that with us.
Mhm.
I love that.
Alberto says, I'll be the guy who mixes the box, wait to see if someone goes for the 6 pack. Like he will sit back and watch who wins the prize, kind of thing.
It if you film that, that would actually be a nice social experiment YouTube video sort of thing, and people
Mhm.
would watch that. See which individuals come by that have the knowledge and look for it, but you've already, taken the power away. They just
Yep.
don't know.
They just
That's
don't
funny.
know. That's
Yeah.
like, yeah, that's kind of yeah, we see those kind of videos, like where there's money, like that somebody drops on
Yeah, of
purpose
course.
in front of
Of
someone, yeah,
course.
just to
Yeah.
test the human nature there.
Definitely right.
Um,
That's exactly what I was imagining. Yeah.
Vintage Lord Candace says shop owners have also used knowledge to one up customers.
I mean, listen. Yes, I'm just going to agree with that. Yeah.
Well, that kind of goes. I'm gonna jump to Charles. He says everyone is a gatekeeper, just on different levels.
Hey, Charles, there is much truth to that, because the example that I just gave about my ability to identify certain things, um, I am gatekeeping that information. I very much am. I'm not ashamed to say it. I don't think it's a bad thing. I think that's if an individual spends as much time as me and pays as much attention as me, they're going to figure out the same stuff I did. So it's not like they can't learn it.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know?
I'm with you. Du Bois says, or even you putting in the money to actually learn something that people may not know. So I think he's going back to the effort, like the knowledge, you know, how many hours we pour into this particular space.
Yes.
There is effort. I'm
Oh,
a little
yes.
hesitant to call it work. It's more work for some than others, but it is effort. Um,
Absolutely
and that
right.
what
You are investing time, and time is the most valuable thing we've got.
mm-hmm.
You know?
Nugent says, I've seen shops that would take advantage of the knowledge themselves and cherry pick themselves.
Mm, that's see, like a shop owner. That's a lot of what we're dealing with in the world of breaking as well, right? Like we want the businesses to practice ethical things, and sometimes they don't.
So I think what I'm hearing him say is like, shop owner opens up a bunch of the boxes to sell packs, just pulls out the 6 pack and then replaces it, or just only has 7 packs, that kind of thing.
Right. Yeah, there's a plenty. It's the same thing as the shop owner keeping the 1 in 25 or the 1 in 100 variant and saying that
Oh,
it's
look,
it's sold already, and then it's on
my local
eBay for 5 times the
LCS
price.
says right up front, the co-owner who helped start the LCS is the co-owner, so they get the incentives. So
Listen, it is what it is.
they're already taken by the owner.
It is what it is. It is what it is. What was that comment just a
Well,
second
yeah.
ago?
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah. Hey, all. Hope everyone is well. Shout out to the goats, Justin and Manu. Appreciate you both very
My
much.
man. Thank you, my friend. Appreciate you very, very much.
Too kind. HA says many times there's a lot of work and effort that goes into learning things in the hobby. And
hmm
I'm all for sharing insights with each other, but there has to be some limits to keep a competitive edge.
Um, Beautifully said. And HH, what I'll add to that is I recently meaning in the last year and a half, have made more friends
Mhm.
than friendly associations, right? Like I've always had friendly associations in our hobby. I've always communicated with a lot of people, but it never became the sort of friendship where now, the people that I'm friendly with have like this insight into what I'm doing on a level that I never really shared with anyone, right? I like being secretive. I like doing what I do, and then the results of it is what someone sees, not the actual process. For two reasons. One, it's very exhausting to keep someone updated on everything I'm doing. It's kind of irritating when someone's like, "What are you
Mhm.
doing today?" Well, do you really want to know, or you just want me to say something arbitrary? I'm just going to
How
give
much
you
time do you got?
arbitrary.
Yeah.
Yeah. But once you actually make friends, they now have the privilege to ask you certain questions where like no one else would really have the nerve to ask, right? And
Hmm.
I say this to Dave all the time. I'm like, Dave, we're friends now, and you get to ask me that. So I have to tell you this, And certain things I preface with, this is between you and I. But a year and a half ago, there wasn't even any, this is between you and I. It was between me and me. Like
Hmm.
no one, everyone was at a very much of a distance, but I've been way more open and way more open lately, right? And so that has created friendships, and friendships have an interesting way of making what you want to keep a secret not so much of a secret anymore. And
Yep.
plus, when I really become friends with someone, I like sharing with them. That's the person now. Instead of a 5-minute conversation about buying or selling, it's a 50-minute conversation about how your day was. And a lot of things come up in those conversations. Justin, I haven't been able to keep a single secret from you, okay? It's just how it is.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. And I will say this, and it's not that I'm disagreeing with comment. What I'm saying is I do find that that's less and less true for me because of the channel. And what I mean by that is because people are coming to the channel because they want to learn,
hmm
or they feel like it's a place where they can learn.
hmm
That the idea of keeping something back is more and more would be more and more difficult for me. Does that make
Right.
sense?
That makes a lot of sense, right? And if I had actually started making the YouTube videos in the time that
Mhm.
I said, well, the content, as you're aware, the most compelling content some of the most compelling content would be me exposing the things that, the certain practices or the certain elements that I have to identify certain things of value. That would be great content. But I would sacrifice the secret for the benefit of satisfying the audience that I hope to entertain or engage or grow.
Well, and it's an integrity issue. And here's what I want to define what that means. Like,
Mm-hmm.
is if I hold myself out to be as someone who's helpful and open and sharing, and then I don't, then I fall out of integrity. If I lead with, hey, look, like I'm not going to share everything all the time. Like I make a living doing this or something like that, then I would maintain my integrity because I've declared it, right?
Yeah.
Now I don't make my living selling this stuff, so I never declared anything like that. I don't hold that as something that's important to me. So my desire is to share when I believe it would be useful. And obviously, what appears to be these mapped packs is something that needs to be shared. And glad we have this space to
so important.
Share it.
So important.
Guys, we want to talk about Into the Spider-Verse. We got a couple of guests waiting in the background. We got Rohan back in the game.
What's up, guys? What's up, guys?
Rohan got a little slighted last week. He showed up like in the last 15 minutes and he got like 4 words in. But
it's my fault. It's all good.
Yeah,
I was wondering. Good. I was like, wait, what the heck? You popped in. It was like 3 hours and 50 because I watched the rerun. Rerun? Is that what we call it? Repeat? Playback?
I don't know.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh gosh, I hope this happens again. And here it is.
No, I mean, I had my kids' kindergarten orientation, so I couldn't come on till late, and then there in the end, and there wasn't much I can do. It was all good.
Yeah, we were still in deep waters.
Yeah.
And I know he got a warm up earlier. I don't know if he went and rested, but he's back too. We got Dave.
My God.
Hi. Hello. Hi, gents.
What's up, Dave?
Hey, Justin. You're looking tan.
That's
Somebody's
what I was gonna say. Yeah, you're definitely looking tan.
No, wait till you see me in the week.
Manu and I.
Right?
Hey, Manu, get closer to the screen. Is my skin more olive than yours now?
Why are you going that way? You're going the wrong way.
I'm beet red, apparently.
More olive than me.
Manu, you're the sun. You're the sun hater, right?
I can't stand the sun.
I love the sun.
Before we get too far away from the thing that I want to say, when you said "What's up, Dave," it sounded like "What's up, Danger." The Miles. It sounded like that. I was really into that. What's up, Danger?
But it didn't happen. Oh man,
nice
look, you got the right shirt on, dude.
That's
nice
right.
shirt.
I've been wearing a Spider-Man shirt for like the last 3 days. The various Spider-Man shirts.
You could do one for each day of the year, I'm sure.
Almost.
I'm shirt.
What's up,
hey,
Ryan?
We got to finish off. I know we just brought you two guys in.
Yeah.
I want to keep in the backstage. Please. We do need to get to some of these comments here real quick. We got Bloomberg makes a living selling information. So there is there's this concept or idea that knowledge is power, knowledge is money.
Can I speak to that for a second? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Can I speak? And this, maybe this is received positively, maybe it's not. It just happens to be thoughts of mine. It's not as though I'm going to start saying, oh, you want me to spend my time to explain this thing to you that took me 5 years to learn? Pay me, right? It's not as though I'm going to start saying that, but it's not as though I haven't had the thought, right? Because in other professions that I've been involved in, when someone wants information, they call you a consultant and they pay you for the consultation, right? But that's not what I set up here. That's not how I enter this community to say, I'm going to guard all this. You got to pay me for it. It's a very personal decision I make to spend my time to speak to people. People know. They'll ask me a question. All of a sudden, they've got 9 minutes of voice notes from me, And I understand that they have to take 9 minutes of their life to listen to it. I value that. But also, I value the 9 minutes that I just spent communicating the information. Now, what happens after that is going to determine whether I'm ever going to spend any more time speaking to this person. Because if I've said everything, and then they ignored everything and asked me to repeat everything, I'm done with that conversation.
Yeah.
But I very much understand that Bloomberg makes a living selling information. And I've had that thought, like, okay, if you really want to know a secret that might make you $1,000, shoot me $100. And I'm not saying I'm ever going to do that. I'm just saying the thought was not one that I've never had. I'm like, that's fascinating. But in this space, in the collecting hobby, where this is friendly, this is community driven, this is driven by passion, that doesn't feel like the right way to go. This isn't stocks. This isn't this and that. This isn't just the world of money. This is the world of what we love. And that's not the way the information should travel. But I definitely understand the point that J-Biz is making.
Yeah. Thank you. Well, I don't want to skip William's comment. He says, I think us collectors get screwed with people who sell just for the money and not the passion of the set or characters we all collect. So I was on a podcast this week with Random Red Shirt podcast. Great guys. If you ever get a chance, check them out. They happen to be kind of a Star Trek focused podcast. And even though I'm not a Star Trek fan, they still invited me over. We got to talk Marvel cards. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But in that conversation, there was something I said. And I was like, man, I wish I'd have said that on the Marvel show. So I'm going to use this as an excuse to bring it up. But it's me being more aware today that to what William's saying is the collector is at a huge disadvantage as a buyer, because, you know, we have so much passion that drives our buying decision that those who are only in it for the money are way more awake to that than we are.
They're preying on the passion.
They're preying on the passion. So example, like right now, there's not a hotter name than Miles Morales, right?
I'm not gonna cut you off, but I'm gonna speak directly to this.
I want you to speak to this. There's not a hotter name than Miles Morales. So your collector passion just like awakes, and you just starting to look like, what should I pick up? I want to pick something up. I got to get this. I got to get that. Like, there's a reason why in my Instagram feed, I got an advertisement for Miles Morales, like scents or something like that. Like, it was just the off the wall thing. And, but these flippers, let me use the word flipper. And I know that sounds negative.
Flippers.
We're just gonna, let me say it a better way. People who are selling just to make money. They're not, there's no collector mentality connected to it. It's just like buy low, sell high kind of thing.
Yes.
You're at a disadvantage. And so if you go in and you're buying because of your passion, you're likely buying when others are buying at their passion. Well, if you have more buyers chasing fewer items, the price goes up, right? Yep. So you're going to be buying at a higher peaker price. And if you're doing that, the idea that you're going to have an exit strategy in that item is like, you got, that's where you're getting, there's not an exit strategy. Mm-hmm. You know, yeah, there's going to be a movie that comes out next year. And yeah, it's if the movie goes well, maybe even better, it ends well, you're probably not going to sell then either. Like the same collector passion is still going to be awake. So you're not selling then, you know, so when you want to unload this in the future, you don't know where Miles is going to be. It's just really dangerous. The deck is kind of stacked against you as a collector. So you got to be really, really mindful of when you're buying and what has you wanting to buy. Or you're like, you know what? There's not an exit strategy. I just want it. And so I can afford it. I'm going to buy it.
Yeah, absolutely right.
You should always, that statement should always come from your mind or your mouth. If I can afford it.
Yeah.
Don't buy an Ultimate Fallout now. You're stupid. Don't buy an Ultimate Fallout now.
This is what I added. I'm gonna just give it up to y'all after I say this. What I added to that podcast and in this realm of the conversation was there's more expense than just the money when you buy something, and you really have to calculate all of that, right? And so if you're going to go heavy in on an item right now, just because your passion is awakened, be really careful. All right, Manu.
Yeah. No, I think Dave wanted to say something.
It's just literally the worst time to buy an Ultimate Fallout is right now. Because I've seen prices all over the place, and it's confusing for somebody that doesn't know what they're doing.
But if you're someone that does know what you're doing, how much should you pay for a first print 9.8 right now?
Well, I was directing this towards people that don't know what they're doing, because we're talking about
towards collectors. So these are people who, like, they've been collecting. Maybe they've been away. Maybe they just hadn't seen Miles like they're seeing Miles now, right? Yeah. Like, now's the time.
Quite frankly, sorry.
No, I've seen them anywhere from 1,700 to over 2,000 in the last 36 hours.
Yeah. I think you're going to have I think that 2K is kind of the ceiling with that book. I think it will be for a little while just because of how many there are. Like, I don't think we're going to get back to, what was it, 2 years ago? That book was $4,000. Like, I don't think that's
Did it hit 4? Did it actually get
I remember 3,500.
Yeah, it was bumping up 35, 36. So it's close to that. So I think 2K is kind of be right around your ceiling until quite a bit down the line. I think I still agree with Dave. You shouldn't buy right now because the movie just came out. I feel like you wait another month, that book's going to be back down around like 1700, and that's kind of where it's going to sit, I think, for a while.
Yeah. I think you. I mean, a friend of the channel, friend of the communities, actually asked me the same question a couple of nights ago. Said, "Hey, can I have some help with Ultimate Fallout 4?"
I talked to him today.
You did?
Yeah, because he's like, I talked to Manu about this. Yeah.
And I was like, this is the first print. This is the price range. This is the second print. This is the price range. Here's where I like the second print. And then there's the facsimile, and that one just costs like $40. Like, you don't have to, think too hard about that one. But yeah, those kind of questions are asked. And yeah, we're not keeping secrets. That kind of information, you're supposed to help your friends in the community with that kind of information. That's not the edge. That's just making sure your friends don't get hurt.
Sure.
Yeah. That's cool though. Nice.
It's just a very, this is the beginning of what I'd like to think is going to be about a year-long, Miles surge that kind of died down over the last year after COVID. The boom died down, but it's just a dangerous time to buy that book because everybody's selling one, and I can't imagine. I can't get into the headspace of somebody that doesn't know what they're doing. But there's plenty of people out there that are trying to get into Miles, and it's just like it's a really bad time because there's a lot of people that are going to be getting taken advantage of.
You're right.
Sure, we're going to see a rise in that scummy thing that we saw during COVID, where people were selling the 9/8 facsimiles, but not saying that they were facsimiles, and then you get it, and you're like, you might not even know.
Well, that's
when we shout out eBay.
Yeah,
eBay got you. They got your back if you're a buyer.
That facsimile though with Ultimate Fallout 4 is like okay, like you have a Hulk 181. It has the facsimile. You have that barcode in the corner.
Sure.
Like the Ultimate Fallout 4, like the facsimile to the regular is like very close. You definitely got to know the difference.
You have to know, but once you learn, right away. You have to know that though. Someone has to inform you, or you had to have figured it out some other way.
Yeah, I mean, and I just think it's poor. Also, it's a poor part on Marvel for not making big bold letters that say facsimile because they are reprinting a book that only came out 10 years prior and they look the same. Whereas, like you said, if you get tricked into thinking that a Hulk 181 facsimile is a real Hulk 181, it's kind of on you.
Yeah, exactly.
And the facsimile, remind me, it's got a bigger, wider barcode, right?
And it's the Marvel logo's red, I think.
No, yes, the Marvel logo right up where it says Ultimate Fallout, on the right side of Ultimate Fallout or whatever side it's on, where it says Marvel, it's surrounded in a red box. So if you see red up there in the box, that's a dead giveaway. But the easiest way is the barcode is pushed right up against the edge of the book.
Yeah,
there is no artwork surrounding it. It is boom. At the end of the book.
Yeah.
That's what I remember. I remember the barcode being different.
All the way to the edge. Yeah. And that's how it is for a lot of facsimiles.
Okay. Facsimile ASM 300? Did someone say ASM 300?
Look at this guy.
No, sorry. No, no, what facsimile? We're skipping
a lot of questions. Yeah,
I'll stop skipping.
Doom says, I'm at the point of collecting where I don't mind sharing information as much. I think it's more of a mental, and I think he finishes his thought maybe here somewhere.
Yeah, let's see that. And Doom and I have shared information. We had conversation about comic books and certain things. So definitely, I know he's about sharing. But what was the continuation of that?
We'll have to get to it. Matt Box in 2023 shouldn't happen. When will these companies learn to shuffle? I really need that Mr. Rogers video. Where he would leave and go to the crayon factory and show you how the crayons were made.
Yeah, you want that for the trading cards.
Yeah, I really need him to go through the whole process of how the art's selected and then designed, and then go to the factory and watch how it's pushed through the machines and then how it goes into the pack. Now it goes into the box.
So you can see how poorly their quality is.
No, so I could truly study it to know how they really met. And I'm just kidding. So I could understand how does it not get shuffled?
Yeah.
I want to add, I will say with what Doom was just saying, I actually think what he was talking about is honestly in my opinion, that's the most enjoyable part of the hobby is talking about it, learning about it from other people, helping other people learn the community side of it. If I was just doing this by myself, not saying anything, this would not be fun.
No, it would not be fun. And a lot of the perspective that I share about keeping certain things a secret, I was trained that that's something I needed to do only because when I started to have success in certain things that I was doing, I was getting approached by people that were being manipulative in the way that they were trying to coerce me into giving them information. They wouldn't
You've outgrown
actually be
that.
honest. Yeah, they wouldn't tell me what their agenda was, and I would find out through other people that they lied to me in order to make something else happen, right? And once you get hip to that, it makes you become tight-lipped. It's like, wait a second, you know, is this person asking me this to use it for their own, you know, for good or for evil, right? Like, there's also that. I came in contact with a lot of people that were not good people, but they disguised themselves as like friendly community members that just wanted to have curiosity satisfied with interesting information, but they were actually using it for their own benefit and keeping tight-lipped about it. But fortunately, there was enough conversation for me to learn. So that kind of made me put up some walls, you know. It was almost like, all right, you want to actually befriend me and learn some things? There's a process. We got to date first, you know. So I just started to shut up at the beginning, quite frankly.
We're dating.
But Rohan, you know, I never shut up with you from the very beginning. We were just
I
conversation.
It's in my opinion, like I honestly enjoy the learning, the digging, the researching, the hunting.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny because like I don't have like Dave's got this room obviously behind him where he's got all this stuff put up. Like I don't have that currently at my house. So it's like when I get it, it kind of just goes into the closet. So it's like the finding, the learning, the hunting is the most enjoyable part of it. Obviously, like the culmination is actually getting it. But the true enjoyment of it is just like talking about it, learning about it, looking for it, talking to other people about it. Like that's the true joy, in my opinion.
I second that.
Yeah, absolutely agree.
All right,
Ryan,
I had to let that whatever that was flying by. Sorry.
well, you did a great job because we didn't know anything was happening. What's the next comment on the list here?
Yeah, so I got to answer a question. Well, HH, I do want to say he's the one who brought up the question about, you know, keeping information, and he ended up he was saying, because of the channel, you know, it is good when you have a channel where you're sharing information. You know, if you start hoarding information, then that you begin to lose some integrity there, right?
Agreed.
Cards and Comics ask, has 2023 Marvel Premiere pre-sale happened yet? No, it has not happened, and I reached out to one LCS this week, and they have not been able to pre-order it yet. If somebody else has been able to, I'm not aware of it.
Okay.
Coins A to Z says that integrity ties in the expectation you set your subs to expect. So he's saying that people that come to this channel expect to be able to get access to the information that we have.
Yes.
Hello, Marvel Marshall.
Hey.
Dave.
Oh yeah, I already showed it to T Bear Phil.
Yeah. Okay.
Nice.
Good. We got a hi Rohan. There we go.
Hey, all right.
RMS.
We got Alonzo Collectibles.
What's up, Lewis? How are you?
Talking about somebody who's got some good Miles stuff. Alonzo posted some nice cards this afternoon.
Today? Oh, okay. I want to see.
All right, so here's the rest of Doom Car's thought. More of a mental health thing and relationship with this hobby. So he's sharing information, has really helped his mental health and relationships with this hobby. This is my escape from the daily life responsibilities and routine. So I have a deeper appreciation for the people of this hobby.
Yeah, 100% on that. Like this is exactly what this is. We got jobs, we got families, we've got all kinds of things going on in our lives. This is the break. This is where we get to escape and jump into and get away from it all.
Yeah. So, but the thought is possibly that, okay, well then you're the target buyer, right? To the seller who all they're thinking about is like, how can I make more money selling this stuff?
Oh, no. Okay. So look, that's what I wanted to talk about earlier when you brought it. Oh, did I? No,
I'm just like, I'm like forgetting that what I do for a living, but I know he's not talking at me or
I'm not talking at you.
I know.
This
is a global conversation, Dave.
Yeah.
You're the weirdo who somehow sells what he loves in a way that he loves to people that he loves, and you know,
it worked.
There are the sellers out there that we said, like we said earlier, that prey on passion, right? I can't do that. The reason I can't do that is because my best clients, if you will, they're friends. You know, when it was a first, and I've had this conversation, I think, on the phone, but never publicly, I don't think. Or actually, we spoke about it we got to talk about that too. We got to talk about this. And so I've developed relationships with people where the first one purchase, whatever, that's the price I'm asking. You don't want to negotiate. You want to pay the full dollar amount. that's the price you're paying then. Like, it's not my responsibility to tell you, hey, you're supposed to ask for $100 off,
Mm-hmm.
On the second purchase, if you're just claiming it at full price, generally what I'm doing, I'm saying it's this for you. If something's up there for $900, they say claim, and I'll say make it $825. Like, if I know I have substantial margin and this is now a repeat customer, I don't like the word customer, but initially that's all the relationship is. I'm going to discount it, right? Because I'm like, no, man, I'm Manu. You could haggle with me. I love a low ball. Like, that's what I'm about. Like, negotiate, It's fine. I've got the room for it. Third time you buy something from me, we're probably now engaging in conversation, whether there's a transaction or not. Now we're probably just catching up sometimes. You might be inquiring about a book, but we just end up talking about how your day was because now we have a rapport. Now, after that, we get into an element. Now, there are a certain number of things that have to fall in line for this to be of real significance. It has to be that individual that has become my friend and is a client also has to be in a financial bracket where these conversations become more and more important, because now what they're buying, $5,000, $15,000, $10,000, what have you. And when that object becomes really rare, meaning I might have the only one available on the market or the only one available at all, we've established trust, and they're asking me what it's worth. And if I say it's worth $8,000, I don't know it's worth $8,000, it's the only one, but they agree to pay it. That's when I have to really become ethically in tune with what I'm doing. And I've denied sales of the sort of money that I want to make, the sort of books that I want to sell for the sort of money. But depending on who's making me the offer, I literally say, my friend, I cannot make that much money off of you, but that is the price that I want for the book. I need someone else to buy this book, someone that I deem to be a more responsible decision for them to buy this book. Yeah, you might want to give me what I want, but I know how much you make. I know how much money you already spent. This is probably not the best idea. Now, Dave provided some great perspective. He said, well, if you sell somebody a book for X, and then, one comes to market later, sells for 50% of X, I'm saying I would feel bad. But Dave said, if the book is really rare and really great, over time, it's going to catch up to the value you sold it for anyway. And the buyer might know that, right? And so that gave me a really interesting perspective to work into those conversations. But most recently, I declined the offer that I want on a very large book, because that gentleman, quite frankly, I love him now. I love him. I'm like, bro, I'll take $10,000 a month from you for books, but I'm not taking X at one time from you. I just cannot freaking do it. Let me work on getting 2, and then we'll make a deal, right? And if I was just preying on passion, trust me, that I would have taken a month off after that sale, but I can't do that. The relationships matter, the people matter, and I want longevity in this thing. Period.
I totally. So as someone that doesn't sell at all, like Manu or Dave here, like, that's why I prefer, like, and this has become much easier with comic books than it is, say, cards, but I prefer to not buy off eBay for all these reasons that you've just discussed, right? Like, I like building the relationships. Like, I just met Dave fairly recently, and like, I would happily buy from Dave. I've bought from Manu before, and like, once you get to know people, you can trust that the price that they're going to give you is something that's fair, right?
You have bought from me. That's right.
Yeah, that's how we first met. Yeah.
See, and then friendships happen. There
exactly.
You go.
Yeah, exactly. And so, and I just think that it's just such a much more enjoyable experience as well than just like, and I get why people go on eBay. Don't get me wrong. Like, it's the biggest market there is out there, but my first place, if there's something I'm looking for, I always want to talk to people I know first. And if I can find it that way, perfect.
Yeah. I don't buy a lot on eBay for multiple reasons, but it's mostly because I'm in a position where I come in contact with this stuff on a regular basis. So I just wait until I find it in person, because when you buy in person, there's the fact that you can see it before you buy it. You can, look at it, or you can establish a relationship with the person you're buying from, and then trust becomes a huge thing, just like Ballpark. And, I pride my reputation on the fact that anybody and everybody can trust that I'm never going to mess with them in any way, shape, or form, but give them a good book, good price, good condition, all that stuff.
One thing I can say I can say a lot about all of us, but one thing that is certainly true about all of us, if we are friends, the 4 of us and whomever else we bring into our circle, all of us really pride ourselves on surrounding ourselves with solid individuals. I only want to know people on this sort of intimate level that I can vouch for. If someone calls me and asks me anything about Dave, they're getting a vouch. And if I ever have to have a relationship with someone where I have to second guess that, well, then I don't have that relationship. Then that's not my friend, because I don't even want someone in my life that I can't vouch for, you know?
Yeah.
And so if somebody's being referred from this community that we have, I think you can rest assured it's going to be a good person, you know? And I think that's really important. And there's a lot of groups of sellers and that I get the wrong vibe from. And you know what? It shows in the way that they conduct themselves, and it shows in the sort of the love they get. They don't get an outpouring of love. They don't get an outpouring of supportive individuals. They get people that are just cold-heartedly, transactionally buying things, and once they get burnt, they stop. They move on to someone else that's going to possibly burn them, and hope not. But if they find individuals like us, man, we become a family. And that's a little strange, right? To sell something to your family. But you know what? If you are more comfortable buying here, then I'm happy to sell, you know? That it works out really well, I think, all around.
Bring up a business term real quick. You've heard the term an arm's length transaction, an arm's length transaction. That means they're not a close personal friend, because you bring them in close.
Yeah. Yes.
An arm's length, you reach all the way out, because they're not family. It's a full handshake, right? This is just transactional, an arm's length transaction. And an arm's length transaction is an eBay transaction.
Sure.
It's full reach and length, and it's just a transactional deal. Now, obviously, there's some people who go a little bit beyond, on eBay to make it less transactional.
Absolutely. There are some really warm, loving individuals on eBay.
Right. But if you're selling to a friend, it's not an arm's length transaction. And there is a greater fiduciary responsibility in that relationship. Yeah. And if you're like studying market and data, you actually don't use non-arm's length transaction in your data, because it can't.
No, you only use the arm's length.
You only use arm's length,
exactly,
because you only want to use data where both parties are operating in their own best interest. There's not oh man, I care about you. I can't sell you this because I know how much you spend. I know how much you make. You can't.
Dang it for friends. Dang it.
See. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off,
No.
Justin.
I want to keep the show going, but I don't want to move too fast either. If we need to.
No, that's a point.
It's funny. I have been selling on eBay since 1999. I have never felt like any of the people I've sold to I have connected with, and like from day one on my live sales, it's the complete opposite. It is the absolute opposite. I've never even written thank you on an eBay package. You bought something from me. I got to get it out. I want you to have it.
Yeah.
Get it. I'm not going to spend any time. But then when I sell stuff to people on live sales, it's like, I'll write thank you. I'll throw a sticker in. I'll throw a card in. I'll throw this in. So yeah, eBay is so impersonal, and that's that.
And I want to speak to that, because Dave and I recently have been having a lot of conversations about what I call creating your own reality, right? And in contrast to that, what may not be many people's eBay experience, I've had cold eBay experiences. I do a lot of things on eBay. I do a lot of shopping on eBay. I do very little selling on eBay. But when I do, it's something that I take pride in. But I've had probably, I don't know, but so many like actual friendly, surprisingly warm, engaging conversations on eBay. It's really unexpected, but it's almost like I'm gauging what the vibe of someone's page is before I even decide to interact. I go to their other items for sale, get a feel for how much they care about their stuff. Are they one front scan of a book sort of seller? I don't want to talk to this guy. You're not even showing the back of the book. You're selling comic books. I already know I don't want to talk to you. I already know you're grumpy. I already know you got 70,000 books for sale, and you don't want to answer any questions. I can already not like you, Dave. No, I'm no.
But that's me on eBay. That is really me on eBay. I don't want to talk to anybody on eBay.
But dude, it's kind of funny you say this. JP and I talk about this all the time on our show. It's just so funny when you go to a Comic-Con, for instance, and it's just how many dudes that are there selling are just these curmudgeon.
What's the word you use? Curmudgeon-y?
Curmudgeon-y, such a real word.
Like they're like, you can't come back to the wall. Don't touch anything.
Well,
if you want to look. It's just like,
hey, real quick,
dude, what are you doing here? Like,
right. But here's the thing. They probably didn't start out that way.
That is true.
No. They got jaded over time.
They got jaded over time. So you know, I'm not making an excuse for him. Okay, I'm just, for me, it's like, okay, Justin, be mindful.
It's a
But that'll be
reality.
you too.
Yeah.
You'll be there
Look, man,
too.
No, we have the power not to be there. You know, we
Mhm.
might naturally feel like being there, but the awareness is what allows us not to. See, a lot of people lack awareness. It's just a fact. A lot of people, they just think that's how it is and that's how they act. And they create an environment around them where their friends are grumpy naysayers as well. And so they seem validated because you create a surrounding that allows you to be comfortable. But if you create an environment that challenges you and makes you better, well, you're not going to get stuck in that. And we, my friends, are people that are challenging one another because we're seeing each other succeed in different facets. And we're not fueled by jealousy. It's friendly motivation. It's like, well, dang, man, my guy over here grinds like he doesn't sleep. I can definitely put in more work. You know, that sort of thing keeps us sharp. And when you have a community like we have, we're not going to fall victim to that because we're going to check each other. You know, sometimes Dave and I have very not condescending, like cynical conversations, but we enjoy it. But if we ever see each of us like let that trickle into our public facing engagements, we check each other. You know, that's something for private time for us to get off our chest. You're not going to see me start calling people out publicly and ruin my reputation. No. We are going to make sure that we don't allow each other to do that. So I think
it's always good when you got that you got that trash can in your life. Not, and I mean, like someone you can unload your junk with, right?
Oh.
You can dump it in there, and they know how to go get rid of it and not carry it. You know, you got to be mindful of who that is. But it's good.
Justin just called me a trash can, and I appreciate that.
It was just the best compliment I could give, right?
I call Justin and I say, Justin, I know I always say negative things when I'm on the phone with you because reality talk is sometimes a little negative, right? It's not always the most optimistic. And Justin is very open about saying, I can take it, man. Like, I know how to get that and not let it be what I'm feeling or what I'm holding on to. And Justin's amazing about that. Justin's amazing in all regards of communication in terms of like actually communicating and receiving communication. Like Justin's he's a skilled man. This guy. Yeah.
Please tell my wife.
Marriage is a different thing. I don't know how that works. You know?
But I'll take it. I'm a trash can.
Okay, good.
No.
Hey, look, you look, when you don't have your trash can, you really miss it. You really do. It's really important.
That's right.
All right,
we all need trash cans in our life.
That's right.
Let's keep going. We've got a lot to say
Charles
about this.
says
Say it later.
Spider-Gwen's hotter, and he's talking about hotter than Miles Morales. Now, and I don't think he means like from an appearance standpoint. Okay.
The book, Edge of Spider-Verse.
What emoji is he using? Let me see. Okay.
I think he means just like as a collectible.
I'm gonna
disagree with that.
Yeah. Well, first of all, RMS, thank you so much. You're the man. I'm gonna ask Justin to throw one of those comments on the screen. Eventually, we'll get to him. But thank you. I love you. You as well. One of the greatest guys in the community, RMS. Like so considerate in his trade. You'll never believe how considerate this guy is. And back to Charles's comment here. Spider-Gwen is hotter in terms of marketability. I think is she?
I don't know about that. I'm kind of with Dave on this one. At least I can't speak too much towards the cards. I don't know, but like on the comic book side, like I think Miles is by far still the hotter collectible.
And let's do this. And I really don't know how to ask this question, so maybe you guys can help me formulate it. But like, you know, what is the hottest, or what would you want to be in on? Like if you were, and I think we've done this before on the channel before, like if you were buying stock in a company and the company was either Miles Morales or Spider-Gwen or Peter Parker.
I'd want a short box of Ultimate Fallout 4 Newsstand. I'd want a short box of Ultimate. I would want to control the market and sell one every 2 months.
Okay, let me not include the idea of investment in the question.
Sorry.
Like if you were just ranking these characters as a brand, like how would you rank Marvel characters? Where would Miles and Gwen face with Peter Parker, Iron Man, Hulk, the X-Men?
Oh, wow.
I'm gonna just put this in simple terms of how we look at things in pop culture. Miles Morales has a shoe and a PlayStation game. That's it.
Yeah.
Name me another character that has a shoe and a PlayStation game that is going to come out and blow the absolute roof off at everything.
Not named Spider-Man, right? Because Peter Parker does have that.
That's right. But yeah, Miles is the future, and he is the hottest commodity in Marvel, their arsenal all around.
It's so easy for me to agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Spider-Gwen's great, and I think after
I think
this,
Spider-Gwen's right up there, but I think Miles is ahead.
yeah, well, look, if we're just looking at like facts, comic book movies, comic book everything is a male-dominated fandom. Women, little women, I almost said, little girls and young teenage girls are definitely on the rise because they have a lot to look up to right now. But they still have
Armando. No, sorry.
They still have to catch up because, you know, Spider-Gwen is a new character. She's newer than Miles, and there's still some catch up. But I think we're talking 10 years down the road, I think you're talking the top 2 most popular characters, you know, or at least in the new era. But look, the PlayStation game, the Nike sneakers, the Burger King promotion, these are all Miles things. They are using Miles because Miles is the character. And I don't think that's a fact you can really disagree with, unless you could prove to me that there's a lot of Spider-Gwen stuff out there and all that stuff doesn't exist yet. And I
haven't seen the branded ballerina shoes yet. I haven't seen them.
Or she's got Chuck Taylors on through half the movie. So
yeah.
Oh, there's definitely going to be Gwen Converse then. There's definitely going to be some Gwen Chucks then.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think the answer is Miles, right? I'm not even here to debate that, but that shouldn't feel like a slight.
No,
absolutely
to Gwen
not.
Stacy.
Oh no.
And yeah, so I'm going to do this. Spider-Gwen isn't even her name, right? It's Ghost Spider. Yeah. So if you're a superhero who has a secret identity, if you use the name Spider-Gwen, it's kind of a giveaway, right? So it's really Spider-Woman. That's actually what her name was, and then she's now goes by Ghost Spider, Spider-Gwen. I think in issue 1, like she says, well, you know, I can't use that because it's a giveaway to my identity.
Mm-hmm.
We just like to say it, right?
It's catchy.
Wait. Yeah. Oh man, there's some really good comments.
This
is going to be a 5-hour show tonight.
It's a lot, and but yeah, I do think Spider-Gwen has a bright future, and she's already super hot. I think she's already a top 10 Marvel character, and I think she could be in a top 5 space for a long time.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Is there a hotter female Marvel character? Maybe the hotter's not
then Gwen.
Word. Yeah, let me not use that word.
Popular. I think popular.
A popular brand.
Sure. We know what you mean, though. Yeah.
There is. I mean, you've got some great stuff on the rise. You know, obviously with the Marvels coming out, and that's going to put, you know, all 3 of them on another atmosphere. But Spider-Man, in general, the Spider-Verse, this movie will be past $1 billion before 2 weeks.
Yeah, well over 200 million already, I think.
Yeah,
which
today, yeah.
$1 billion or 2 billion, whatever it makes, means several million people have seen the movie, and then you have a whole. The thing about it is, long term, Miles and Gwen will dominate because you have millions of kids growing up today that those are the first superheroes that they are exposed to, and that's, I think, the coolest thing. Like, they're going up in a whole new world with these 2 great characters that everybody loves across the board. Like, I remember when Miles came out, and there was like a second of not even controversy, but there was a second of talk. Oh, this is a marketing ploy. And then that stopped happening because people were reading these books that Bendis was writing, and everybody's like, Miles is a great character.
The unfortunate thing about that, though, Dave, is that initial thing that you're talking about was very national news.
Yeah, it was.
And so, you know, for me, when I'm thinking about this, it's not like what we think. You know, like if I had to say it another way, it's like household name.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So when Miles Morales first came out, it was, they're trying to make somebody look like Obama, you know, which was dumb in the sense
that
Who said
that? Someone said that?
Go read the articles. They're out there.
Yeah, there was some stupidity.
They're talking heads on the news, right? You know, trying to, you know, overly politicize everything, right?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And instead of saying, we had this incredible achievement and we have a person of color in the White House, you know, this should really be pushing us forward. Like we shouldn't be behind in the comic book world if that's in the White. Like, you see what I'm saying? So they made it about that, and that's not what it was about, right? They really wrote a very compelling story and character.
Yeah.
And that's what's really shining through right now in the movies. And that's why I think Miles Morales has just such an amazing future. And Spider-Gwen has a great story too. I don't want to give this movie really does a great job of calling that out. And I would say I now have a greater appreciation for her story than I did prior to the movie. And I think that's going to play dividends long term as well.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. It's funny, like somebody mentioned in the chat, Mr. No Name, that Spider-Gwen already has a shoe with Adidas. But that's the thing. It's like, we all know Adidas, but to the general public, what's more popular, Nike or Adidas? Nike.
Well, not only that, it's not even just Nike. It's Miles has it's a Jordan 1. Like that is like it's like the greatest, most popular shoe of all time, and they've given it to Miles. Like it's not even like on the same planet.
Yeah.
Is it also?
No,
I'm not trying to say that I like Miles better than Gwen. I'm just pointing out, like, if you're looking at how popular something is, you have to really, like, Miles Spider-Man PS5 game was the tentpole of the release of the PS5. Like, that's
wow.
That's like saying he is the Michael Jordan of video games, or whatever. When you look at something's popularity, it's where it stands in pop culture. If you see it on every advertising, if you see it here and you see it there, it permeates and it becomes the most popular thing. Just like, as we know, the bat symbol is the most popular comic book symbol. You can go any corner of the world and show that symbol and they're going to know Batman. So that's how I gauge popularity, not statistics, just what
I'm
we
with
see
you.
in
The
everyday
pop culture, and that's why I like the household name kind of rule. When does it become that? All right, real quick, Matt Fuller makes a statement here that is part of one of the questions I wanted to ask tonight. The animation aspect of the movie has the potential to be an easier crossover to introduce fans to comics and cards, because it does represent so well what it means to be a comic book superhero. And we love the MCU, right? But it doesn't represent it as well. It's actually meant to transcend comics. Okay. So for our generation, I'm going to say 35 to whatever, right? We had the 90s cartoons that really, brought the comic book to life on a screen and really ingrained that into our nostalgic, fandom that really brought to life the comics and the cards, the magazines that we were action figures that we were enjoying in that time. This has got to be it for this generation, right?
100%. This is the greatest animated movie I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I like it.
I can't imagine.
I wasn't ready for that conversation tonight.
But I can't imagine, or the style of animation. I can't imagine growing up 10 years old and instead of having to watch Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, your parents take you to go see the craziest looking, beautiful animated movie. I want to speak on something very quick. It is not a spoiler. It is literally the opening of the movie, not plot. They took the actual art style. I think it's Jason Latour, but I forget the artist name, that worked on the first Spider-Gwen book. And that is what they did for the first 15 minutes of the movie. It is
especially when she walked out of the band rehearse space into the city. The pink.
That's like the cover of number 2 or something.
That's the cover of Spider-Gwen #1 or whatever. It's called.
Yeah.
Oh wow!
It's Jason Latour. It is Jason. You're right on that.
Yeah.
But what is this? So much I want to say at once. My brain's fine.
Dude, Black Goo knows about all the Ghost Spider shoes. I didn't know about any of them, but that's awesome. Sorry. Yes.
I'm the money talks, right? Whether you like it or not, that happens.
That's how business works.
This thing grosses whatever amount of money. It's $100 million movie, right? So this is not a $400 million movie trying to make $1 billion, like $100 million movie that's going to make, who knows how much, a lot, right? This has got to wake Disney up some on how like you don't really have to mess with a good story that's already proven itself in the pages of the comics. You can translate it onto the screen and not mess with it too much, and it can still make a tremendous amount of money.
What lesson it really needs to teach Disney and pretty much everybody involved in making movies out of properties: when you find your directors that have a vision, let them have their vision and put it on screen. This movie does not go the way it goes without Miller and Lord. It doesn't. It doesn't. It's the same thing with James Gunn. Those Guardians movies and Suicide Squad, they don't resonate with us if somebody else has their vision over the director.
But didn't they work really well with Pacelli and Michael Bendis?
Sure, and that's what I'm saying. Like
Bendis?
their vision is bringing in the creatives that they bring in and bringing the people responsible. Look at Shameik Moore and Haley Steinfeld. Like, perfect. There is no other Spider-Gwen. There is no other Miles. I mean, the Miles in the video game's cool, but Shameik Moore and Haley, just perfect.
It's good. Very good stuff.
Trip's comment here is perfect.
Help me out, Manu. What should I get to? I know I miss a lot.
Trip Power says, Marvel has been trying to make Captain Marvel their female tentpole, but that just hasn't been resonating to a broad audience. Just seeing the audience reaction to Gwen, no doubt she's the future. And I agree completely. It's like this. When you're making a song, you don't know which one's going to hit. But the one that everyone starts humming to themselves, but you didn't think was going to be the one, that's the one. And Spider-Gwen, Ghost Spider, that's the song we're all humming when it comes to the female characters that Marvel has recently introduced. You don't have to scientifically quantify it. It just is what it is.
What about the song that I wrote?
I liked that one. That was good. He sang to me earlier today, Justin.
Oh, Lord.
I took the lyrics from the Beatles Across the Universe and changed it to Across the Spider-Verse.
Oh, I got it. Across the Universe.
Yeah.
Has there ever been a female who has ranked #1 in popularity of all characters? Hopefully one day, but I can't think of any at the moment, unfortunately.
I'm sure at the height of like Linda Carter as Wonder Woman, she was probably the most popular superhero character in existence. I mean, I don't know anybody that watched the Linda Carter Wonder Woman and said, I don't like this. She was the, the sweetheart of pop culture at that time.
Right.
But I don't know anything else other than that.
But I mean, are we talking what? Is that late 70s?
Yeah. I think it's late 70s. So it's a long time
thinking about this today. Spider-Man shows up in 1962. Obviously, he makes an initial splash. But I was thinking about, when did Peter Parker Spider-Man become a household name? I was surprised, and Dave, I'm sure you already knew this, that even though he came out in 1962, he had a television show by 1967.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's how big he blew up, how quickly he blew up. We're talking 2011 to 2023. Well, I mean, Miles had 2018. So you're looking at 7 years there versus 5. How quickly Peter Parker went to the screen versus how quickly Miles went to the screen.
Superman had some animated films in 1941.
Yeah, and he had he had movies before. Christopher Reeves. He had the George Reeves movie.
I'm just saying. I don't know that I can quite understand how big Spider-Man got, how quickly he got as big as he did. That's
sure. And to speak on that some more, 1962, Amazing Fantasy 15. He's just a character in a story in a book comprised of multiple stories. By 1966. He's given his own storyline because the proof was already in the pudding. The proof is in the pudding.
That's it.
What?
Proof is in the pudding.
That is it.
You are correct.
Either it's good or it's not.
Yeah, exactly. Right. The world's responding to it, and the creators said, "Yo, we have to double down on Spider-Man." And so it happened quickly because it was one of those songs. Right. You wrote a hit. You didn't know if you were going to write a hit. You always hoped to write a hit. They wrote a hit. And then I think that show you're talking about, if I remember correctly, is the one where Spidey would go thwip, and then someone would throw a rope from the other side of the screen. and that would be the spider web going.
And don't forget about the Japanese Spider-Man show too, Spider-Man.
I can't forget. I didn't even know.
I didn't know about that either.
Man.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, there's a lot I mean, that's the thing about Spider-Man. It's very much like Batman. They're two characters that kind of permeate through pop culture throughout the world, and they've been in the zeitgeist overall for long time. But you're right, the jump of Miles' creation to Miles today, in a decade and change, it's done what took decades for every other character.
Yeah, I mean, it to think about how long it took Wolverine. Like, so obviously Wolverine had the animated series, and obviously it was really popular in the 80s through the Claremont run. But really, from a household name standpoint, it wasn't until really probably midway through the X-Men series.
Yeah, and he you know, Wolverine's one of those rare characters though that became a household name without the use of a live action movie, because you know, like X-Men came out, but everybody had already spent decades loving Wolverine from the animated, the video game, and the comics.
Yep. And the shoes. You know, the Wolverine boots.
That's right. That's right. They are tough for the tough construction worker. Look at Manu. Look at Manu. Manu is just absolutely just what is happening right now.
Oh, that was good. I'm so glad I got to say that.
Yeah.
All right. Question.
Yes.
Peter Parker, Miles Morales. What makes Miles Morales a better Spider-Man?
Can't he teleport or something like that?
Oh, he's got his electric.
He went invisible.
Oh, invisible. That's what it is. Invisible.
He can go invisible. He also has his little venom strike that he does, which is like more like electricity, and it's not super powerful, but it's effective up close. Yeah. So you know, Miles just make.
It's the shoes. The answer, Justin, is it's the shoes.
Well,
that's a good point.
Hey, I want to be careful with this, because if you've seen the movie, it's hard not to have that inform your response.
Yeah.
So actually, like, I want to respond, but now I'm like, even though I would have probably had the same answer having not seen the movie, that's not how someone who's watching is going to think about it when they do watch the movie. Does that make sense? So we got to be careful with that one. On how
I just like T Bear's comment.
Yeah. Invincible and half Puerto Rican.
That's right. That is right.
Those are two data points that Peter Parker does not have.
They're and he's from Brooklyn, and I mean, I'm not from either. My dad's from Brooklyn, my mom's from Queens, so I don't know which one.
Well, I say, like, are you better if you're from Brooklyn?
You get more. You get a little bit more of that. Well, you know. Yeah,
ask someone from Brooklyn, Justin. You'll find out real quick.
Well, it depends. I mean, it depends what neighborhood, but you could say that they grew up a little bit tougher in their life if they were from certain parts of Brooklyn, whereas Queens, you know. But I don't know. I'll say this from my standpoint. Miles just he's got a better spirit about himself. Like the way he carries himself, he's having a little bit more fun. They designed the character, in my eyes, to be a little bit less, you know, like Peter gets nothing good ever happens to Peter for long enough. Where Miles, he has a couple of bad things happen, but I feel like his spirit's a little bit better. It's a little less depressing when you listen to his narrative. So that's kind of why I like Miles a lot.
I think. No, please. Sorry.
I'll give a sports analogy here to kind of maybe compare the two. And you know, I don't know how big of sports fans you guys are, and this is swimming we're going to talk about. So in 2008,
I was like, I'm with you, and then you said swimming.
Well, no, so it's swimming and track and field. So in 2008 at the Beijing Olympics, you had Michael Phelps that won 8 gold medals. That was a big story. But if you remember, Usain Bolt won 3 gold medals.
It's the fastest man alive.
And set the record as the fastest man alive. And he just had that electricity to him that Michael Phelps, as great as he was, he didn't ooze that electricity.
Dude was boring. All right.
He wasn't a character.
Right. Like exactly. And so I think kind of what we're getting at is kind of what I'm getting at here with Miles versus Peter Parker. Like, I just think Miles just has that electricity to him that.
Are you saying Peter Parker's boring?
No.
Wait.
There he goes. There he goes.
When he comes back, I'm going to get myself kicked off of the show now.
I agree with Charles. I agree with Charles.
Yeah, yes. And so Rohan, now I'm going to get kicked off because I'm going to say what Charles says. Charles says Miles is more modern and relatable to people these days. Okay, full stop. And then I'm going to go to Off-White Tim, who expanded on it a little bit. He said, I wouldn't say better. I'd say more relevant. Same thing Charles is saying, but then he goes on to say there's a connection with this generation that's unmatched right now. Yeah. That's the key. The key is the intangible here is what's the word? Relevance. right? I'm not going to say Peter Parker's boring, but to somebody that's 15 right now, Peter Parker is a sleepwalker. All right. They do not, it is boring to them.
Look at Justin Stu in here.
Justin, here, Justin, how about this? Here's something that might bridge these two gaps. Who is more relatable, regular Peter Parker or Ultimate Peter Parker? Because Ultimate Peter Parker is more relatable. It just felt right. And then Miles comes birth from that.
Right. I mean, so
we're 40. We relate to both.
Okay. A couple of different things. Just so the Ultimate World is the 1610 or the 1610, right?
Yeah.
Peter Parker's the 616. Miles does eventually cross over, but he, so when they killed Peter Parker and Miles was, born out of that whole event, that's not the Peter Parker of the 616, which is the one most people are thinking about right
now.
Okay. And here's what I was saying. Like, look, Tom Holland as Peter Parker Spider-Man is not boring to kids. Okay?
No.
That's not boring to any of us.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was more imagining pages of old comic books.
I know. I'm with you, but that's not relevant either in the to the
good point
to the people that are comparing. Okay. I think it's deeper. Okay. Number one, Peter Parker doesn't have parents.
Yeah.
He doesn't. Like, and there are way too many people that can relate to that. Okay. But not as many who can relate to having parents. And so I think that actually makes for like just better qualities that show up in the resilience of Miles Morales, where there's a tremendous amount of just struggle and misfortune and kind of sometimes like not shoot yourself in the foot, but it's just Peter's just got it rough. Okay. He just does. And it's not to discount how difficult things are for Miles, but he does have that bedrock of his.
How come no one
parents.
said Miles is cooler? That's just it. Miles is cooler,
I mean,
right? APOC says Miles is hip hop too. And quite frankly, in my mind, I can replace the word hip hop with the word cool, right? Like in my mind, I could do that. Like Miles is cooler. Yeah, he's a hipper dude.
But the question wasn't, is he cooler? The question is he a better Spider-Man? Meaning what it means to have the moral compass and to carry the mantle of being a superhero is really what I'm saying about the question. Is he cooler? Yeah, I would say he's cooler, but that's kind of on purpose. Peter Parker's not meant to be cool. He's supposed to not be the cool kid who gets bit by the radioactive spider.
And that's actually what I find so charming and relatable about Peter. I love Peter. It's not like any of this is me not.
Yeah,
I love Peter.
I'm saying, but love Peter Parker.
Yeah, there's no.
To me, Peter Parker Spider-Man, Miles Morales is the new Spider-Man. Like that's how I look at it. I've never replaced one with the other.
I'll say,
no. Well, I'm going to be like 1 minute. So with Miles, even though he is cooler and he is culture, fashion, and music, it's not forced. It doesn't feel forced on
100%.
Not at all.
100%.
Not at all.
It's very naturally his persona, and that's not easy to do.
Well, if he was a kid from Iowa, it would feel forced. He's not. He's from the most forward city in this country when it comes to the trends.
Yeah.
Whoa. What about the Bay Area? What about where Manu is?
The Bay Area. We got some cool stuff going on. I think
everybody's behind New York.
But even Manu was East Coast. I get it.
Yeah.
Listen, when I was younger, not physical fights, but a lot of fights because I gravitated more towards the ideologies, the personalities, the fashion, the music, the sounds, the visuals of the East Coast than I did my own backyard. Unless I was in San Francisco, that's the only place where I felt that sort of electricity that I thought New York, that attracted me to New York. But a lot of the Bay Area was just kind of like not my scene.
Yeah. I wanted to say something to kind of piggyback on your Miles thing. His moral compass though is different, but it's centered more because, you immediately find out, whether it's in the first movie or the beginning of the comics, that his moral compass has to be set because his uncle's the Prowler. And so it's such an interesting dynamic to have his uncle be a supervillain, both in the comics, the show, like across the board, that he has to learn at a young age about his moral compass. Very similar to obviously Peter needing to really understand like the cause of his action, letting that
he had to live with that grief.
Right. He had to live with that grief, but then they killed I think both Miles' parents both died within the first
Rio
2 years.
dies eventually. I don't know about Jefferson. I don't know about the dad.
Yeah.
We're not talking about the movies. We're talking about the comics.
Yeah.
And so here's something I think is really interesting about Miles is because his dad and his uncle were both these thieves, right? Growing up, but his dad chooses a different path, right? And becomes a law-abiding citizen, a police officer who enforces the law and puts the thieves in jail. And yet his uncle, goes down this much darker path and actually has, in the comic books, it's actually the Prowler who has stolen the radioactive spider that Norman Osborn is trying to create with Peter Parker's DNA to make himself like a Spider-Man, right? And Prowler loses it. He loses the spider. I think it's spider number 42, I think, or something, 41, something like that.
42.
And that's what brings it in proximity to Miles when he gets bit and becomes the radioactive spider. I think the storyline, and this is going to be one of my questions, like how can the storyline develop, moving forward for Miles Morales? And I think they have the elements there, and that element is like, hey, am I really like, forgive poor language here, am I like genetically more like my uncle? And if it wasn't for the spider bite, I wouldn't be a hero. I'd be more like him now, and dealing with that internal struggle of like, am I really, the good guy? Does that make sense?
Yeah. I also think he's, I don't know about you
Stevie
guys.
B, you asked for it, Off-White delivered.
Yeah, old fashioned. I don't know about everybody. I can only speak for myself. I find it very easy to relate to somebody that's younger because I've already been there. And I remember what it was like to be young. And I remember what it's like. And I never lose that sense. I'm a goofball. I'm a kid at heart. So I find it, and they're, they live in separate spaces in my brain. Peter Parker is Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Miles Morales is Spider-Man. They don't have to, one doesn't have to be better. I mean, I love Spidey. I'm on Spidey's show.
Come on.
Yeah.
Come on. We all love Spidey. That's why we get to say this.
Yeah.
But we, all of us collectively, with the exception of people that are in their 70s or 80s or older, we never got to be there when Spider-Man existed for the first time. So now we get a second chance at that. And I'm not going to ever be like, oh, I don't like this. This is fantastic.
Yeah.
It's very cool, man.
Yeah.
I would say, at least for me too, just kind of, they are two separate for me as well. They don't want to have to be better. But I do know Peter Parker as Spider-Man, more as Spider-Man versus, I rarely call Miles Morales Spider-Man. I always call him Miles Morales.
Oh, that is a fascinating point. And it's not just because we have to differentiate which Spider-Man we're talking about. We see him more as Miles Morales, but when we see that red and blue suit, we see Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Wow.
But I think that really serves the I think that really serves Miles Morales to call him Miles Morales because of what he represents, in terms of the diversity he brings to superherodom. And so I do think that's actually, I think that's a good thing. And it doesn't mean we're saying he's not worthy of the title Spider-Man.
No, not at all. No.
But it's a way to differentiate, and it's also fun saying Miles Morales.
Yeah, that too. It just comes right off really.
Yeah.
He has morals for Miles.
Oh, that's good. I feel like I'm never going to live down the fact that I said Peter was boring. I apologize. He's not boring. He's obviously Peter. He's awesome.
Plus, this is a way to connect us all with the younger generation, as we should always be in tune to that, because otherwise we're just going to be curmudgeons.
I've never heard that word until Rohan said it. And now that word, I don't know what it means. I can assume what it means. I love the word.
Go to a Comic-Con, Manu. You'll find out who curmudgeons are.
Bro, I had a guy. I buy a newsstand. He sends a direct. I complain. He goes, "They're the same." You're an idiot. Give me my money back.
That's a curmudgeon.
Yeah.
You know what else is a curmudgeon?
Curmudgeons make curmudgeons.
The guy who doesn't go and visit his friends at cons. I'm kidding. Off-White says Peter will forever be my Spider-Man. From comics to the animated series, Peter owns too much real estate in my childhood memories.
100% agree with that.
Sure.
But my
dude,
nephews
for sure.
is Miles and then everyone else.
Facts. We're in a very interesting place where we get to see what the future is feeling. It's nice.
Yeah. He also says, interesting to see how many Spider-Man we went through before we got to Miles, and none of the others stuck as much as I loved most of them.
They didn't.
It's just storytelling. They created a better character.
Mm-hmm. I will say this to push back at Off-White Tim. Actually, they all stuck because every single one of them is in this movie.
Is in the movie, right.
But also, I mean, the ones we're talking
And that's
about, like,
part of their power set.
but they also have different names as well, right? Like, are we talking about like
Scarlet Spider, Spider-Man 2099?
Yeah, they all have different names too. So,
but I get what he's saying. Like they didn't crack the mainstream like Miles did.
100%.
If we unmask all these other Spider-Man types, like almost no one recognizes them.
Mm-hmm. No one used to call Spider-Man 2099 or
Miguel
O'Hara. No one was like, no one was actively saying the word Miguel all over the place.
But even if you unmasked them in a comic book, like I would not recognize them.
Nah, right.
You would have to tell me, oh, that's Miguel O'Hara.
I wrote him into my song, Manu.
You did. Okay.
Wait, Alberto, which one was it? Tell me. He said his favorite Spider-Man wasn't in the movie. I want to know.
I think I know what he's going to say, but we'll see.
Yeah, and I kind of, I mean, I can guess.
Spider Carnage. I don't know. Yeah, like who?
Silk.
Oh, I didn't even think of that. I was thinking of something else.
That was
but that's okay. Telling people that somebody's not in the movie.
Yeah, but if somebody was looking forward to
shoot. Sorry. He said Superior Spider-Man. Is Superior Spider-Man the one wearing the all metal, the tiled metal outfit?
No. Well,
No.
Let's not give. These are spoilers.
Yeah.
Technically.
Yeah.
Technically, these are spoilers. So let's not.
Yeah. Sorry, you're right. Saying what's not in the movie is another element of telling someone what is in the movie. Yeah. Sorry.
Right. For sure.
Yeah. But
I couldn't recognize her. I mean, I could Ben Reilly. I mean, I know he has blonde hair, so Mike could pick him out without a mask, but I can't think of just about any other.
Yeah, well, because they're like I said, they didn't crack the mainstream. Like I mean, you Mayday Parker, you probably know, but you also
we love Miguel. It's not that we don't love Miguel. We love Miguel.
But if you have too many characters with the same name cracking the mainstream, then they're nothing special anymore anyway.
Yeah.
X-23 has a different name for a reason. You can't just call her Wolverine because
they tried.
Yeah.
I'm remembering that, right? Like early on,
Spider-Man.
like they really did try to call her all new Wolverine, right?
Yeah, but it doesn't. Because then you get into that. That's why I think we also gravitate towards calling him Miles Morales, because you want to differentiate what Spider-Man you're talking about.
Yeah, she just happens to have. I mean, I know she's connected to Wolverine biologically, but she's just different. She's extra.
Justin, do you intentionally have two Indians on one side of the screen and two whatever politically I'm supposed to call you two friends on that side of the screen?
I'm so glad you said it, because I wanted to
battle?
not be the person that I wanted to be the person that didn't say it. I didn't want to.
My brain is like bisymmetrical, so things have to like be cut in half.
They have to match up.
Yeah.
No, play. Because Charles says no Asian male Spider-Man. And Indians are actually Asian, and we do have an Indian Spider-Man. So shout out to Team Asia.
Another big highlight. Another big highlight of the movie was Spider-Man India.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I'll be honest. I was wondering like if I would come away annoyed by the character from it, or if I totally dug it.
Yeah. He's just really enjoyable.
Blue. What Black Suit Spidey equals Venom? We're gonna somebody break this down for how True Blue means it, because I just kept thinking of that one card where they call Black Suit Venom, and I'm like, oh gosh.
What other questions did you have posted on I didn't.
This is a big one. How does Across the Spider-Verse, this movie and what's happening with it, and remember when I asked this question, This time next year, we get part 2.
Mhm.
And it's hard for me to imagine it not being as good, if not better.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
How does Across the Spider-Verse impact collectibles? Does it impact it at all?
Somewhat, there is going to be an impact. Yes, it's not going to be the pandemic sort of impact where everyone has nothing better to do but to be impacted by what's happening on a screen. I don't think it's going to be the same correlation. Like we talked about earlier, I don't think Ultimate Fallout 4 first print 9.8 goes to $3,500 this season.
No, but it'll go up.
But it'll go up some.
Yeah.
I mean, it already has gone up a couple $100.
Right. Enthusiasm will spread. There's no question about it. And some people don't care about a $300 difference in the price of a tube. They'll buy it because they want it. It doesn't
Dave,
matter.
have you
and that
seen-
affects markets.
I haven't seen any Edge of Spider-Verse 2s. Has that price gone up at all much?
I haven't seen people selling them in the last couple of days, and
Yeah,
I
nor
think
have I
it
been
will
surprised by that.
because there is
What-
an
what
element
is
to
it?
this movie.
Which book?
Edge
Edge
of
2.
Spider-Verse
Edge
2.
2.
Oh, Gwen,
Oh,
yeah,
right.
Spider-Gwen.
Yeah.
I think there's an element to this movie that, like, within the next couple of weeks, people are going to be talking about Spider-Gwen more, obviously, or Gwen more, and that's going to lead to the people that missed out on getting their Edge 2s wanting them, and it's going to lead to the people that sat on the ones because they didn't want to drop their price. Selling
Shout
them.
out to my friends that bought Gwen covers from me in the last few weeks.
Yeah, and shout out to Maddie, Comics, for selling me his Edge of Spider-Verse like 2 months ago. So yeah, but I think what you're gonna see is you're gonna see a lot more collectibles entering the space that are Miles based and Gwen based. There's gonna probably be a lot more across the board: cards, comics, figures. There's gonna be a lot more stuff that's made in the next year that people are gonna be going after. Who knows what it's gonna be? Who knows what, I mean, look, I haven't even cared to look at the prices that people are probably getting for the AMC Spider-Verse posters, but did you see how those spread like wildfire? How many people?
Dude, I had so many people saying, get them before it's too late. They were showing
Yeah.
me pictures of theirs, like, go get them. And I was like, man, I'm feeling the FOMO right
I
now.
also wonder,
Well.
Miles when he's not in his outfit, he wears that 42 Brooklyn basketball jersey.
Yeah.
Like I'm wondering if you're going to see that pop
Oh,
up.
yeah. You will see everything pop up. This is a it is a money printing machine. So
by design, right?
Of course. I mean, look, I just hope Brian Bendis and Pacelli and Bagley and they're all getting some money out of this because they're the real people behind it all.
There's my my poster. Thanks
Nice.
to my buddy Dirk.
Oh, I thought that was a cigarette lighter from an old school car. Like
I was
like,
smoking.
Oh, yeah.
That's what it looks like.
But
cool,
I put
man,
out
nice.
and AMC is not near me in any way that I can get to it. So I put out a post and one of my friends rang the bell and got one for me, and so very, very, very happy about that.
Well, it's a
That is
beautiful
very
piece
cool,
of
man.
art. I mean, it's Bill
Sienkiewicz, dude.
Sienkiewicz.
Yeah.
It's Bill Sienkiewicz. It's like a weird.
That's what Dave says. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what he says. I've been on record to say, hey, these movies don't really, from a Marvel card standpoint, really move the needle, and I don't see that changing, really, to be honest with you. The Marvel card market is just different.
It's smaller.
It's smaller, and you would think smaller could have a greater impact, right? Like you would think that's what it is, but it's just not. Unless somehow Marvel cards becomes more mainstream, then this kind of stuff is not going to happen.
It's not as largely a liquid market as modern books.
But all it takes is one small thing. Let's say, for example, the next Spider-Man game incorporates trading cards into it, or somebody does a promotion where they team up with Upper Deck and there's cards and kids start getting a whiff of those cards. Or what they really should do, Upper Deck, if you're listening, is create a set based on the production art of the movie and nothing else. Could you imagine what that would look like?
Well, but they did.
They did? Production art?
They did. The first movie. It released last fall.
No,
but
that was screen caps of the movie, wasn't it?
I mean, but it's the same art.
No.
What do you mean by production art? What do you
Production art's
mean?
different. If you look at production art, there's production artists. Sometimes they're even comic book artists. Like Bernie Wrightson was a production and a storyboard artist. They do so much non-animated art, like just paintings and illustrations that shape what the movie's going to look like. And if you go, there's books. Every Marvel movie and DC movie has a hardcover book, the art of whatever movie, and it's all production art.
Okay,
yeah,
like the concept art.
Concept. Concept.
So, but my point is like that movie comes out. I think it's 2018, right? Somebody clean that up if I'm wrong. But it takes all the way to the end of 2022 before the set's release, and it's. I mean, if you're going to release it and at the end of 2022, why don't you just wait till this movie comes out?
That made no sense to me when I saw like you and I saw Neo open a box. I'm like, why is this out now and not 7 months from now?
So when are we going to get this set? 5 years from now? Kind of thing.
I mean, if something's going to crack the mainstream with young kids and younger people in the trading card sphere for Marvel, it would be something like this movie.
VP, I do want to talk about this, but the way I want to talk about it really would need me to be able to talk about the movie. But yeah, 2099, striking character visually, right? And so when you have a character that's striking visually, and it's a strong personality, I mean, I think it can work on the screen pretty well and have a live action. And it's Oscar Isaac. It's Moon Knight, who's voicing him.
And he's also so many other people in every other franchise.
Oscar Isaac. He doesn't over to Marvel place.
Dude, I mean, he's
a dude. Yeah,
fantastic actor.
Switch says if it becomes a favorite movie of kids today, when they're older like us, they will want the OG collectibles from the era, cards, etc., like Star Wars Pure Spec. He's thinking he's thinking 20 years in the future, right? He's like,
and I agree. But you know what's interesting about that? We talk about this. Well, but I agree. I think Swish is completely right here. But when there's 3,500 9/8 of the first print, and there's probably in 30 years going to be 7,000 or 8,000, 9/8 of the first print, what kind of value is something going to have if there's 10,000 of them?
Oh, I think there's
ASM 300. It's going to follow the same model as ASM 300.
Yeah,
I don't disagree with that at all.
So, but
with a bump. I do think there's a bump because it is Miles' actual first appearance. I know it's
Miles'
considered
actual
Venom's,
first appearance,
but Miles is going to be. I mean, he has to end up being much bigger than Venom long term, right?
I agree. I mean, he's a superhero, and Venom's a cool villain sort of guy, right?
Anti-hero.
He's the superhero. He's Spider-Man. He's
very popular. There's a reason why they keep trying to push out movies.
But and also too,
I wish they would do a good job. Venom's amazing. Come on, Venom's my guy. But
Manu, to what you're talking about, in terms of scarcity of the book, it's not just scarcity that makes a book valuable, right? There's the demand to it. Like Hulk 181, for instance, there's 16,000 Hulk 181s on the census. That book is still as liquid today as it ever. Everyone wants one,
right? Because it's
right.
Wolverine, And supply may meet the demand on a small level, but it can never, if you were to ask every comic book collector, would you like a Hulk 181? Every single one of them would say yes.
And I want to speak to the point that they're Air Max Plus 3s. I was really hoping that they were like Air Max 1s. We're going to talk about in a second. My favorite silhouette is the 89 Air Max 1. I think it's 89. Yeah, because they are, because the 90s are called Air Max 90s. If I remember correctly. In any case, Amazing Spider-Man 300 is, how old is it? 30-something years old, right?
30 years old. Yeah, 31.
I'm sorry. Well, ask the question again. I was reading a comment.
ASM 300.
Amazing Spider-Man 300, right?
Yeah, was it
30 years old
or something?
Yeah, we're just going to call it 30 to simplify things. Miles Morales is 10 years old, right? There are already more 9.8s of Ultimate Fallout 4 than there are of Amazing Spider-Man 300. Amazing Spider-Man 300 took 30 years to become a $4,000 9.8. Ultimate Fallout 4 has more 9.8s and is, half the value. It's already in the multi-thousands. I think I'm just having like an out loud thought experience. But the fact that it's Spider-Man and that's Venom, yeah, I guess it can hold water over time. 30 more years from now, that could be a $5,000-$6,000.
I think so, but I think there's a couple of things that the 300 has going for it. Todd McFarlane has a lot to do with why 300.
That's a good point.
Yes.
The cover art has a lot to do with why.
Yeah.
If you're like me, the Fallout 4 took a while for me to appreciate the cover from an artistic standpoint. I appreciate it more now.
Still don't appreciate it.
Yeah, but I appreciate it more now.
Oh,
it's Bagley, and Bagley. I'm not saying Bagley's not important, but that's not his apex, piece, so to speak.
Yeah.
And that drives 300, and because of that, the hey, I'm a collector. If you don't have a 300 on your wall, like, are you even collecting?
Right.
that hasn't quite happened with Miles. I mean, it's probably like right there. It's like really, really close.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the people that have Miles have 5 of them. Not just one of them.
Well,
it hasn't really spread out as much.
We touched on it on Sunday Sit Down. My thoughts on Ultimate Fallout. I actually think it's a garbage book compared to Ultimate Comics #1, Spider-Man, Miles.
I do love Ultimate Comics #1.
I will say this. Kangaroo is the villain in Ultimate Fallout 4. You're
it's bad.
You
it's
have
bad.
There's a character named Kangaroo in that book?
You saw Kangaroo in the Spider-Man metal set.
Yeah.
Remember? We made fun of it.
I do not know what's on the inside of that book that I covet. And
well, it is your boy Clayton Crane doing the interiors.
Can we not ruin something so beautiful with that energy?
I gotta go.
Remove Justin from the screen. Somebody, Rohan.
I don't have that power.
And it's Clayton Crane drawing the kangaroo.
Yeah.
Which is the villain.
Well, that's what he deserves. He deserves to draw the kangaroo.
He does, not Venom.
Kangaroo for sure. But it, he's just figuring out who he is. It's yeah, bump and jump.
So good. Good.
You were quick.
That was good.
Write lyrics or something. But anyways, I'm sorry. I had to say that. ASM 300.
I'm glad you got that in there.
100% ASM 300 is heads above everything that we're talking about because it's Todd, because it's Venom, because it's this like really important book with great art, with an iconic cover. And I got no love for the contents of Ultimate Fallout 4. I love Miles. I would say I'm more into Ultimate Comics 1. I think it's a better book. He's in the costume, on the cover. It's his real book. It's his book. It's like if Venom, I don't know. I don't know what to equate it to. I tried to do that on Sunday Sit Down and I failed pretty epically.
But the actual release date of Ultimate Comics is after Ultimate Fallout 4.
Yeah. On that note, too, though, comparing Ultimate Fallout 4 and 300, like you do see with books just in general, like superhero values tend to stay more consistently high versus supervillain values.
Yeah.
That's true, but Venom is a bit of an outlier.
Yeah, true.
Anti-villain,
Yeah, because he's an anti-hero and he's just so daggone popular. Him and Deadpool live in that space, I think, pretty uniquely. But to say that they're going to hit the numbers that a superhero will, like the ceiling, is still just
Cody.
Not quite,
I know the panel
right there.
I know what Cody's talking about.
What is he talking about?
Well, he says Mary Jane is an ASM 300, though. Who knows the panel I'm talking about? If you've ever opened up the center of the book, you know the panel he's talking about.
Yeah, I mean, and you're getting more into. Hey, we're gonna. Look
am I accidentally thinking of like? No, I'm thinking of.
Yeah,
I'm thinking of 316. I think
you've got 2 copies next to you. Open one up.
No, I can't. They're sold. I'm not going to touch them ever again. Those sold. I'm not. Right. They're what they are. I'm not handling them anymore.
But
I like that you said that.
We're gonna look at this. These are.
I'd feel bad if I bought something and then I saw the person that bought it from me like going through it after I paid for it. I'd be like, "What is this guy doing?"
I do it all the time.
All right, let's go. This is the Dejavik variant. We're not going to get into that right now. We're just going to go through. Here are the interiors of
All right, let me open it.
Ultimate Fallout 4. And I think is this the kangaroo here?
I think this center.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
So Miles is wearing a
Costume.
Spider-Man costume. He's
Yeah.
not. He doesn't have a suit yet, right? And here's him. There's the Pacelli kind of famous drawing there.
Mhm.
Oh, the Pacelli variant. I'm sorry, not the drawing. Come on, give me more interiors. Is that all you're going to give me?
it's only 4 pages, right? Or 6 pages?
No, that stinks.
Oh,
anyway.
yeah, no, I was thinking 316. Yeah. Mary Jane has different appearances in this one.
He opened it.
Yeah.
Let me find another place to see these.
You know what this is? It's actually the first appearance of Miles Morales wearing a Spider-Man Halloween costume.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
that's true. All right, so let's do a little pop quiz for the chat. Pop quiz. Don't Google it. Come on, have some integrity, right?
What? Yeah, okay.
Who gave Miles Morales his black and red Spider-Man suit?
Yoda. Oh wait,
he didn't make it himself. He didn't sew it on his bed like Peter Parker. Okay.
I'm googling. This is like in Bruce Almighty when he's doing all the emails.
Let's get at least 4 guesses. All right, we have no guesses so far, so people are googling.
I think I know who it is. I
don't know
remember
who it is.
correctly. I read it last year all the way through, and I think I remember who it is.
Dude, seeing Black Suit Spider-Man fight Venom is just so fun. Seeing Symbiote Suit Spider-Man and Venom going at it together, it's
Electro.
Like, what's happening? I love it.
Aunt May.
I was gonna guess Gwen too, but
all right. So Aunt May is not in the Miles storyline. That is crazy. We got freaking Richards, Franklin Richards.
Freaking Richard, man.
So actually it's Shield.
I was going to say Captain America, but I knew it was somebody like that.
Shield. Spider-Woman shows up and says, "You look ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
That you shouldn't be wearing that. That basically that suit doesn't belong to you, right?" Takes him back to Shield, and I didn't know it was Jessica Drew, and and Shield, Nick Fury. There's your answer. Ends up giving him the suit.
Yeah, they have a lot of. He gets kind of babysat by Shield and Jessica Drew for the first year or so of his books.
Yeah, well, and they had him fight Electro.
Mm-hmm.
Had him fight Electro, which Shield considers a supervillain.
Yeah, he's totally. I like the redesign of Electro in the Ultimate Universe.
The bald,
yeah, and he's it's really cool. I mean, that's where I really like the Ultimate Universe because they reinvented a lot of these things and did it in an interesting way.
But I do think Aunt May gives through going back, I guess, to the 616, does give him. Peter Parker, who deceased Aunt May. That's what they're referring to. I'm sorry. Yeah. The web shooters. He gets Peter Parker's web shooters.
That's right. And they supposedly he's not in the issue, but Miles was there when Peter dies.
Okay.
He was in the crowd.
Okay.
And I think that's what it was. Yeah. Yeah. So I actually
Green Goblin kills Peter Parker, Norman. That's right.
Also, the design of Green Goblin in the Ultimate Universe is fantastic. Yeah. I will say this for anybody that is thinking about it. Read all of Ultimate Spider-Man all the way through Miles. It's an arduous task. It's like 190 something comics or so.
Wow.
But it reads you can breeze through like 10 issues in a clip. It reads really well.
Dave, I'd like to pose a challenge to you. A challenge to us. I would very much like an Ultimate Comics. Which issue number? Is it Ultimate Comics 1? Like, what is it? Ultimate Comics Presents? What is the thing? The Miles Morales book we're talking about.
Oh, it's Ultimate Spider-Man, Ultimate Comics Spider-Man #1.
That in a 9.8 newsstand.
Does it exist in a newsstand?
It
That's
does
my
exist
question.
in a newsstand. It does.
Ouch.
It is a very, very difficult book.
Let's do it. Let's get one. All right, I'm
Let's
going
do
on.
What's
Get
the
four.
highest-
Four of us here. I feel left out.
What's the
No,
highest
I
you've
said-
seen?
It hasn't been something that I've actively I don't know. I can't say. I don't think I've ever seen a 9.8 is what I can say, but I don't even. This is all just happening right now. Like right now, I'm activating the fact that we're bringing that into our lives.
There's a
I want
9.2. There's a 9.2 on eBay right now for $1,000. There's an 8.0 for $400. I mean, I think it's a great book to own. There's a 9.4 for $1,900. Yeesh.
Dude, we're getting 9.8 newsstands of that book.
Arututu.
I like it.
Let's see.
Hey,
It says
Are you looking on the census at all, Dave? If there's anything?
no. I was just looking at what the barcode looks like. It
Here,
says
let
Marvel
me-
Knights.
Let me look on the census here.
Sorry,
Ooh,
Justin.
we had
what
just
were you
Yeah,
gonna
planted
say?
while you're
seed.
doing that, I got a question for the chat. My Marvel card fans out there, especially if you're kind of new to Marvel cards and you're kind of looking for your footing, and if you've seen the movie, are you now considering character collecting Miles Morales?
Ooh, good question.
That is a good question.
Because as I think about it, I mean, yes, I know people who collect Miles in the sense like they just think he's important. And then I know people who collect Miles in their collection because he's connected to Spider-Man and he is Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know anyone who's like a specific character collector of just Miles in the way that like master character collectors collect. I'm curious if anybody's thinking about doing that.
Already was character collecting Miles and most of the Spider-Verse cards. Derpa says that's his guy.
That's this guy. Cool. Very cool. Miles' first card, I think it's 2012. Stacking Gems, no. Stacking. It's not
What-
by
Ooh, I
Brian,
have a-
right?
Oh, okay.
It's Marvel. Is it Marvel now? Yeah, I'm a bigger Ben Riley fan now. Those 90s muscles, I absolutely loved. Goodness gracious.
Yeah. I
I wanna-
100%
I
agree.
want to go into a spoiler hour so bad.
I know. I think it's just the reason why I suggested no spoilers. It's what 72
3
hours.
days. It's 3 days
Yeah.
in. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a little
yeah.
tough.
I know.
Because and the thing is with this movie, because the plot was kept so under wraps from the trailers, it's really there's so many spoilers to be talked about.
Right. I'm sorry. Charles says he's not answering because he likes to keep that kind of information hidden. He's just joking. 2012 Marvel Beginning Series 3. Kevin St. Jack says, my buddy. And then Charles counters with 2012 Marvel Ultimate Heroes. So who's right? Who's wrong?
What is this thing doing?
What is it?
2, 5, 5.
eBay or the census?
No, CGC, the census.
Can we say the name of who voices Ben Riley? Sure. I mean, I don't know who it is.
Isn't it Andy Sandberg?
I know Sandberg did a voice. That makes sense that it's
That
Sandberg.
I think it's Sandberg.
Yeah.
There is a comedic aspect to that.
Yeah.
All right, we got Synergy Fresh says Marvel's Greatest Heroes, Ultimate Heroes, Miles Morales appearance on the card. All right, I'll show everybody which one that is because I got one.
So we have comic book consignment pages that are pretty popular. We have Elite, we have Grails, right? As of the past few months, we've seen some cards start creeping in, which is a beautiful sign. It's unavoidable to know that more comic book, just comic book guys are becoming aware of, being presented. We could go to an Elite or a Grails comic book sale when they have like a 4 split screen, and there'll be an individual that's got a dozen cards. 6 months ago, that wasn't the case. A year ago, those guys never looked at a card since 1994.
Grails had a card today.
Exactly what I'm bringing up right now. You're
they
exactly
did?
right. And it's
Not
an
a
expensive
card.
one.
Yeah,
An
It's a
amazing card.
Spider-Gwen PMG, what is it, 2015 Fleer Retro? What is the pack?
2017 Fleer Ultra Spider-Man Green
Green.
Oh yeah.
at a PSA 9.
No, I
Yes,
think it's
yes.
an 8. I think it's an 8, isn't it?
It's a 9.
Oh,
It's
it's a 9.
Yeah, I was like, did I see it? because that does happen. I kind of
Yeah.
read what I want to read sometimes, but that's a big grade on that card.
Well, yeah, it is. All of that's significant, but it's a big grade and all of that. The more significant point is that it's actually on this page and it's a $6,000 card. The people that generally shop on this page are not aware. And the people that sent me the post today, really intelligent people, one of our friends who's a fan of the show as well, hit me up, sent it to me, said, bro, I had no idea these cards you guys talk about cost this much money. And I said, man, the story about these modern Marvel cards is so fun. It has ups and downs. It has manipulation, success, disappointment, defeat. I can't wait to tell you the story.
Then you want to tell it? You want to share the story of what might be this particular card? I don't know. I haven't looked that closely.
Oh no, I haven't even shared the story with him yet. We're going to probably get together in person in a few months or something and have dialogue and discuss, or maybe a phone call when we put the card together or something.
So the second most expensive trading card that I've ever purchased, like cash, right? The most expensive is the red PMG 2013 Clear Retro Spider-Man, which I basically paid $20,000 for, which probably would sell, I don't know, today somewhere between 7 and 12. Who knows? I don't know where it's at, but it's not where it was. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, tag me on that green Spider. Yeah. Someone lend me 6,000. The second most expensive card I've ever purchased was a green Spider-Man PMG, same card, raw off of ComC for $9,000.
Okay.
9,000. The same card that's now, it's actually a little less than 6. It's like 59 something, right?
Wait, the same card, meaning that number? This
I don't know if it
card?
We might do some work in a minute to figure it out, because I then sent mine to get graded, and it graded at what I thought was a Pop 1 PSA 9. So can someone pull up PSA and see if there's more than one PSA 9?
Yeah, it's 2017, you said?
Yeah. And I sold that card. Can I tell this?
Tell
it's
it.
Your show.
Sorry.
I mean, and it's not that. It's the people who got the card. There's only 10. Like, they're not hard to figure out where they're at, right? So I'd be sharing what somebody else paid for something. You know what I mean? That wasn't a public sale. Let's just say I made money. All right.
Okay. Fair.
I paid 9. I made money. And then today, 3 days after the movie, which we're just sitting here saying, is she the greatest female superhero right now? The popular, like, it's at that price, right? And so, what does that say about things?
Well, one thing it says is the prices of those cards had nothing to do with the characters. It had to do with all of the external factors that were moving the prices of the cards at the time.
Not why I paid it.
Are you sure you weren't affected by what was happening around the scenario?
Well, what you mean by that is, did that help me have money?
No. Did it help you justify the price you were paying for the card? Not did it help you have money. No.
No. Well, I looked at that card and I looked at all the other cards I could buy, and I felt like that was the best one I could buy.
Gotcha.
It's a beautiful image of Spider-Gwen in the homage to the McFarlane
Spider-Man
pose.
#1.
It's her
Bradshaw
first
did that artwork.
Bradshaw. It's her first PMG, which there is something there. It's not the most important thing, but there is something there, right?
Absolutely.
And it's a green out of 10. It's just a great looking card, and yeah, and it worked out for me. I'm very happy that it worked out for me. And I will tell you this: if I had an extra 6,000 lying around, I would buy it. I don't. I'm pretty tied up when it comes to that kind of money right now, but I do like it. And
did it sell? Does anyone know if it sold? I haven't looked at that post since this morning.
I don't know.
I got it up right now. Let me see. It is the Pop 3, none higher.
Pop 3. So they've added some, or maybe I'm just not misremembering on the Pop report. Probably what it is. There's the none higher. That the 9 is the best grade you can get.
Yeah, and as far as the Instagram shows, it's still up available.
That's really fascinating. That an out of 10, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. That means there's actually only 9 of them, right? Because the 1 of 1 is the goal.
There's 10.
Okay.
The 1 of 1.
Okay, there are
10.
actually 10. How confusing. And so there's 10 of them, but of 10, 3 graded a PSA 9. Wow.
And Swami's here, so Swami may know better than I do. I mean, last I heard, and stacking as well, the 2017 PMGs has like a less than like 8 or 5% gem rate. Like it's and that's tens, right? Not nines. Okay. So I don't know where the gem rate is 9, but to get 30% feels pretty strong.
I'm a less than 10% gem rate.
Yeah.
How many Miles cards, without factoring in like
Hello, Amrit.
the rainbow factor, right? Like, how many different Miles cards are there approximately?
Oh gosh.
Like,
Wow.
I don't care that there's 4 PMG levels of each metal. I just mean like how many individual
I mean, he's
Unique art for cards.
yeah,
cards.
he's virtually been released every year in some fashion since 2012, and you're looking at probably 4 to 6 releases a year of some capacity.
Okay.
So I would say there's plenty. It's nowhere near like the level of characters like the X-Men or Spider-Man,
Sure.
Peter Parker Spider-Man, but no, there's plenty to chase.
So he has been in virtually every set that was released since his inception as a character.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
I want to say something to
even masterpieces, like 2016 masterpieces.
Mm-hmm.
He's in there. Card number 1 in the base set.
Okay.
I want to say something to William here. He said, do you think Miles stuff will dip a little when the hype goes down, or will it stay high? And the thing that I want to say is, reflecting on what we said earlier, hype didn't do the same sort of movement to Miles stuff that it did previously. So there's a better chance that some of the elevated prices will settle still higher than where they were before the hype cycle started to work.
Sure.
There's a better chance of that because it's not going crazy. The charts aren't going double the prices of everything. Things are slowly going up. And so there's a better chance that they stay close to where they are. But I think the rules that we sort of try to practice is that, buy in a few months, buy a couple months, buy 6 months after, buy once the movie's gone.
It's tough though, because once the movie's gone, you've got a very small amount of time before the trailer for the next one will drop.
Yeah, this is a two-parter, and to ask someone to wait a year is kind of like, well, I want it now.
Yeah. Well, and that's why I opened the show with the comment of, hey, look, like the deck stacks against you if you're a passionate collector.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're like, well, how long do I have to wait? And will the prices actually go down? Like even when the movies fade away, will the economy pick back up? Like there's so many variables that are at play. If you're buying something right now as a collector, you just really need to not think that there has to be this beautiful exit strategy that's going to just play out for you, because it's
not realistic.
It's not realistic, no.
But you know what? You can always buy raw and grade and get a 9.8 and have instant equity built in. There's that game too.
But you have to buy smart.
Yeah,
you have to.
Right, but and there's a work, to that, like, and I would say on a larger scale, most collectors, feel like they don't have the ability to pick the right book, and then even the grading process is intimidating to some people, right?
Yeah.
Like, package ships in,
and it's not guaranteed.
No.
Yeah.
Very fair.
They're like, would I rather do that or just go ahead and just buy it?
I did just sell 3 9.6 Ultimate Fallout 4 first prints for $200 below market. I did that.
Hey, there's a little bit better
equity built in there for those individuals.
Like nowhere to buy, nowhere you can go. Okay, here we got our gem rates. 2.5 on 10s, 29 on 9s, so that's actually on par.
So 3, yeah. 3's right.
10.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that is spot
because
on.
There's none higher, so the 2.5 actually feeds into the 9 rate.
Yeah.
So that does make sense.
All right, I'll do a bird. I keep hearing a bird.
Oh yeah, there's definitely some bug or bird like right out that way.
Okay.
Chris Marlin, hello.
Not much I can do with it.
That's okay.
Here is the card.
Oh, it's the cover for Ultimate Spider-Man 2.
It's just a great card all the way around.
That's the cover of Ultimate Spider-Man 2? I didn't even know that.
Yeah, I believe that's number 2. Maybe
Yeah, I
it's
think you're
3.
right. I think it's 2.
Oh, and there's the cover of number 1.
See?
In the back.
So
Very
this is
happy to have
first-
this card. This
this
is where
is
I
first
this is
card?
where I went against Miles Morales. Sorry, Manu, the other M in my life, and bought a raw card on ComC and sent it for grading.
And did amazingly well. As soon as
Sorry.
you send me that card, I'll eat my words, Justin. You have that card.
No, you got to eat the card if I send it to you.
All right, that's cool. Keep your word, eat the card.
Yeah, that's right. I got lucky. We all know what happened. I bought one of them. You know.
No, that's terrific, man. Congrats.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But it's a great card, and what Kevin is saying is that the 2012 here, where's this comment up here? The 2012 that I just showed is the best insert of that year, but his first base card is from Marvel Beginnings. So it's kind of like the sports, sports rookie, like, you know, they all came out in the same year kind of thing. They're all rookies. Which one might be considered the rookie?
Yeah, yeah.
All right, we got some more questions here. Oh, we got a statement from Swami. 4,227 total 2017 medal graded, including base and achievements. 108 are 10s, 1239 are 9s, 1954 are 8s, and the rest are 7s and below. Question, I love this question. I'm really glad you asked it. Does Miles have any unique villains that were not first Peter Parker villains? I think that holds Miles back from being his own character a little bit. Also opportunity there. And let's say not reimagined Peter Parker villain. Because he does have his own villains, but they're kind of reimagined.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I mean, the problem is that it wasn't too long into Miles' inception that he came into they merged all the universes. So I can't really remember anything that sticks out with the exception of his uncle being the Prowler, which he has reimagined. But no, I guess not. I could be wrong though.
I think Cody's dead on. Spider-Man has his rogues gallery, which is second to only Batman, right?
Right.
Yeah. And it does have a huge impact on his character art, his story development, what plagues him. And we don't have that like nemesis that's tugging at Miles in the same way. Even with the Prowler, he's not around very long.
Yeah.
And so if they could make him a very compelling villain, that would really serve him for a long time.
And I'm sure they will. I'm sure at some point they will. When you think about it, let's cut out the first 20 issues of Spider-Man. The next compelling villain doesn't come for another 100 and Kingpin
No.
Well, Kingpin doesn't turn out to really be a Spider-Man villain.
Okay, but Rhino's in 41.
Okay, Rhino's not a compelling villain. There's nothing.
But he is very much.
He's pretty compelling.
Right.
He is not compelling. Spider-Man has
maybe not compelling, but
Spider-Man has 3 very compelling villains: Doc Ock,
Green Goblin,
and Venom. Compelling.
Is that the only 3?
What about Carnage?
Carnage is not compelling. He is just an offshoot of Venom.
Are we putting Black Cat in the anti-hero?
I would put her as a very no.
She's more of a nuisance than a villain.
She's a nuisance and a side piece. Okay?
Yeah,
man, I love toxic relationships.
That's definitely a nuisance, by the way.
Yeah, it's a tie. Yeah.
Now I think about it, she's a super villain.
Yeah.
I mean, like there you go, Mattis, the Jackal.
Jackal.
I mean,
but wait a minute, only 3?
Like really compelling. Like Doc Ock's compelling because there's this intertwinedness that ends up with Aunt May, and then I put Norman and Harry Osborn. They're very compelling. That whole thing is the Green Goblin.
Yeah.
Well, what about Hobgoblin though before Venom?
But is he compelling or is he just a good villain? Like I'm saying, like you get invested in the fact that the two of them are so intertwined. It's such a compelling story. Every time that Venom and Peter met, it was this big thing because it was a piece of Peter, that was attached. But like Mysterio's a great villain. Rhino's a great villain. Sandman's a great villain, but I don't
you got
find there's
Morbius in was it 101?
yeah.
But
Craven is good. Craven is
Yeah.
compelling. I forgot Craven.
Yeah, Craven is very compelling.
Craven's in
It
the
has a
first 20
really
though.
cool
Craven's
art.
16, I think, right?
He's early.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's 16.
But what I'm saying is
Or no, not 16. 14.
there's this huge gap,
14,
right, of hundreds of Spider-Man issues before we get a really good storyline with a compelling villain. And Craven's Last Hunt is a great story, but Venom is there's such a huge birth between those, the early Spider-Man. So what I was saying with Miles, we're a decade into Miles, a decade and change. There should have been a really good villain already, but there's still time to make a really good villain that'll last for 25, 30 years.
Definitely. Absolutely.
Oh yeah. There's time. Yeah, and I don't disagree with that. And in fact, I wonder if now, because it feels like what the movie is helping do is like really flesh out the character development.
Yeah.
And this won't give any spoilers away. If you're scared, mute it. There's just more to pull from.
Sure.
And so I do think that'll happen. But to say that Peter Parker only has 3 compelling villains up to Venom, and that Carnage is not one of them, I do struggle with that.
Well, also up to Venom does not include Carnage.
Well, and that's why I said it that way.
Yeah.
Up to Venom, and it does not include Carnage. I do struggle with that one. But
I would put this to the 3 of you and everybody else. Mm-hmm. Give me a big meaty story of a Spider-Man villain that doesn't name the characters that we, Doc Ock, Venom, Craven, and whatever iteration of the Green Goblin,
and not Mysterio.
Yeah, I don't never read anything with Mysterio that was like this really good story that made me think, because what's a good villain? It's a villain that you can
J. Jonah Jameson.
Well, okay, that's a good one. That's a good one. That's
what about like Lizard? Because he has that
Lizard. Yes.
Oh,
Lizard very much should be considered.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And forgive me for not thinking of Lizard
sooner.
Really,
dude, that
issue
relationship
number 8
that they have.
Yeah. There's a lot of
Vulture.
Very similar to like Two-Face and Batman.
Vulture's cool, but he's like, there's never been.
It's not terribly compelling.
Yeah,
he's curmudgeon-y.
Like the thing about Lizard is Kurt is so close to Peter, and I think it's the villains that end up being close to Peter that we find interesting. Doc Ock, like I said, has this relationship with Aunt May.
Yeah.
Harry and Norman are part of Peter's life from the for the almost the very beginning. Mm-hmm. Eddie Brock has this hatred for Peter because of the reporter thing. And Craven is. But what's his what's compelling about him? Flash Thompson. That's right. There's another good one. Yeah.
That's day one.
Kingpin.
Well, Dave was saying
Kingpin.
I brought up Kingpin, but Dave was saying Kingpin's more Daredevil.
Yeah, like Kingpin immediately kind of like Kingpin has always been I think there was a more recent storyline where Kingpin was more involved with Peter. But when you think about Kingpin, you think about like the impact he's had on both, not just Daredevil books, but the Punisher books. Like he is a centerpiece of obviously the New York crime syndicate, but I feel like he doesn't become this. He goes at like Kingpin and Daredevil go to the ends of the earth for the most part, and so does Punisher and Kingpin. But I just feel like there's a difference between compelling villains and villains. Like in the Batman world, obviously Joker, Two-Face, those two like really come in hard. But then you got Hush and you got Catwoman and you got
Riddler.
Riddler. Yeah, like there are these great villains. Penguin, yeah.
All right, so Derpa says. Also, Miles in the 616 is the villain ultimatum.
Forget about that storyline.
Is that like the giant? Who's ultimatum? I feel like I
remember the storyline ultimatum, but I don't remember the villain ultimatum.
Yeah. Okay. I was thinking, I was like, there is a deeper villain for Peter, and I don't know how to express it. But it's kind of himself in a way.
Well, Peter's relatability is the one thing that we can all like. There is that relatability because of the
Well,
storyline.
him being Spider-Man gets the people closest to him hurt.
Yeah. So
And
he's his own best villain.
It's just so tough being Peter Parker.
Well, and that's I think what makes that character across the board loved by everybody, because whether we want to really think about it on that level or not, we can always find something about Peter's life to relate to, whereas there is some unrelatability to a lot of other characters out there.
Right. Yeah. No, for sure.
Wait, I read something about Indian Girl. What happened?
All right. So Smokey collects. His current unique-ish enemy is a girl named Rabble.
Huh.
Indian Girl, ability to control techno armor and gadgets, who figured out Miles was Spider-Man and is mad at him because he got a college scholarship that she didn't get. What was half the time he wasn't even in school and missing classes. So she put in way more work. He got the reward. The last two issues attacking his family. I do not know this villain, so it does sound like a new villain.
Yeah, I will. I want to. Alberto's talking about Moreland, and I was trying to illustrate the gap of the birth of the villains. Moreland is a great villain. I haven't read a ton of it, but it is the beginning of the Spider-Verse, because I believe he's hunting all the spiders.
Yeah, he hunts all the spiders, kills them.
Yeah.
And look, get used to that name. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
And that's not a spoiler.
No, not at all.
Nothing in the movie, blah, blah, blah. I'm just telling you, there's no way Moreland doesn't become. He literally has a Thanos ability, and I'm not saying he's as important or big as Thanos, but in the Spider-Verse, he is like a Thanos type. He's coming, and when he comes, he kills spiders.
Yeah.
I don't even know who Moreland is.
He's like all of us.
I don't either.
He's all of us in our bedroom. Whenever we see that spider in the corner and we start throwing stuff at it, get out of here! I sleep here.
Right.
I don't kill spiders.
He goes from basically verse to verse hunting that versus Spider-Man, and I think he eats him or something.
Yeah,
Someone show me Rabble.
Hydro Man, Spider-Man's greatest villain.
Mattis with the.
There's nothing quite like Stilt Man, though. Stilt Man,
right? Another great Daredevil birth villain that makes his way around New York. I mean, that's the other thing. Like, there's so
with
many
the money bags.
Yeah.
It's just so dumb.
That's the other great thing about the Marvel universe in general, is that like New York is this place with all of these characters, which it really is in real life. They're just not, wearing costumes and supervillains and stuff. But you get a lot of those shared villains that resonate among fans of multiple characters.
Warren is a psychic vampire that feeds on universes of spider totems.
Mm-hmm.
Totems equals that universe's Spider-Man. So our Spider-Woman.
Or T-Rex.
Or Spider T-Rex. Thank you, Derpa. You are the best. Moreland is definitely coming. We're in the Spider-Verse now. Yeah, and you're just making the connection there. Spider-Verse, Spider-Villain. Spider-Verse is in the title. We all know that's happening. But hey, is Spot not a compelling villain for Spider-Man?
In the comics, I don't think so, but he was a lot of fun in the movie.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah, he was good in the movie. I don't know about how much in the comics.
I mean, he was. I don't remember ever reading anything with Spot when I was younger, but obviously he premiered in Spectacular Spider-Man, which would have been like the very early or mid 80s.
Yes, but he was also in the animated series.
I forget that.
He was. I don't remember that at all.
Bro, yeah. I just sold my favorite cover of Raneem's first appearance, Rabble, the Indian girl. I didn't know that was her first appearance. It didn't say it. I didn't know who she was. And I just sold my favorite version of it.
What book? What book is it?
Miles Morales Spider-Man issue #1. I sold the 1 in 10 animation cover like 2 weeks ago, paired with the Gwen cover, because
that's right.
books are moving.
Manu, you should probably look at your comic books more often.
Stop.
Right.
Don't try to change.
You need to stay informed. You don't need to. Let the misinformation.
I'll make sure he stays informed. Manu, do we want to talk about it? Can we mention it?
Yeah, no, of course. We've just been having lots of conversation. I'd love to mention it. Let's talk about it.
Justin, Manu, you are a co-host here. Why don't you talk?
Justin, do you know that Dave and I have decided to do a podcast, and we recorded our first 2 episodes 2 nights ago?
Did not know that at all.
That is why I'm now the proud owner of the same mic you're using.
Okay.
Because we're recording podcasts.
Oh, you guys actually already recorded 2 episodes already.
Did, right?
Yeah, we did.
So
the question is though,
yes,
where will this podcast air?
that's a question that we're asking as well, and I think we'll find out really soon. But at least we've started to record stuff.
It's an audio podcast.
Audio only, no visual.
It will be living. Hopefully, I'm not sure. I have to look into it, but I would love to have it on Spotify. Good night, Derp. I'd love to have it on Spotify and Apple and all the major places where people listen to podcasts. But yeah, we recorded 2 episodes. I'm in the process of editing the second one, and it does have a name.
Oh, give us a name.
It came from the Newsstand.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Well, there's something called Anchor.
Okay.
Have you looked into it?
I haven't.
I've heard of it, but I don't know anything about it.
I haven't used it in probably over a year, so things may have changed, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you just upload to Anchor, and it goes to everywhere that's supposed to go. And it's really easy. Cool. If people want to know that, but it's like boom, you upload it, it's done. And like even when you do your YouTube videos, you can download that and upload it to Anchor, and it does it so fast. Yeah.
RMS, thank you.
Thank you.
What is the gist of the pod? What you guys?
Can I say it? Can I talk it? All right. Well, Dave and I, it was a few weeks ago. We had just finished the Marvel show, and I think it was like a heated episode. It was. I forget exactly. We were talking about certain controversies, and I was really letting things out, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then when we got done, I had this feeling. I said, man, I am not done. Like my energy's not settled yet. I'm not done talking yet.
You got more to say, huh?
Yeah. And I said, in hour 3, I'm right in hour 3. And then I said, let's go live on Instagram. And I never go live on Instagram. So we decided to go live on Instagram, and our friends were still awake. They were still energized from the conversation. So they joined us in the live. So it was really nice to have, our friends there. And it was just a more of this process. I wanted to get more things out. I wanted to maybe correct some things that I might have said, in too harsh a way. But I was just validated by our friends. They're like, no, bro. Like, you have to be honest. You have to be you. If you got to backtrack on something because you've given it more thought, that's different. But you don't have to apologize for anything you said. It's very genuine. It's very nice for us to hear these things. And then Dave says, we should do a podcast. Right. And immediately RMS was in the room, and immediately I was like, we should do a podcast, dude, because Dave and I have this dynamic where we do this. It's just this dynamic, right? Where we are kind of angry at times, and it leads to really fun conversations, And then also, Justin, you and I talk about how me personally, I need a space to be the different sides of me.
Yeah,
right.
For sure.
And this is the energy here. Look, we're having a beautiful, robust, energized conversation here. But the difference between the conversations that Dave and I have is it's not for kids, right? Yeah. Like, generally speaking, it's not like a family-friendly production. We've given ourselves permission to say whatever we want to say. There's no barrier there. Angry buds, like Angry Birds, I get it.
Yeah.
Was the backup name the trash can for David?
Oh, dude, your name. You gave the name, right?
I changed my name.
Rohan gave a name, and Rohan gave the name.
It was the West Coast
Newsstand.
West Coast Newsstand.
And it was on the list. But when Dave and I were on the phone, and Dave said, "Hey, I thought of a name," and I read some names to him, he said it came from the Newsstand. It was instant. I was like, "That's perfect. It's intellectual enough. It's mysterious enough." And that's what we embody. We embody
Right.
something that kind of came from the grit and grind, but has survived, and we're in our own ways thriving, right?
And we're
Doing well.
evoking, and I thought it was a good way to evoke nostalgia. Like when you think of a newsstand, no matter what age you are, it brings you back to a certain time or place. Like, and that newsstand could be, like I say in the first podcast, it could be a New York City newsstand. It could be a Walden Books in a mall. You know, it could be a candy store that you went to around the corner that had cards, comics, magazines, all that stuff. So it encompasses that nostalgia piece of it. And I want to just piggyback on what Manu said. There's a little bit of what you could call inside baseball on this podcast, talking about like how we do what we do in the selling world, but also just what goes into some of the stuff that we do here or any other YouTube show that we appear on, just talking about that. And then talking about little things that kind of get to us about the collecting community and the things that we love about it. Like it's not a negative podcast and it's not all positive. It is it's the spectrum of emotions that involve all of this.
It's the curb your enthusiasm of the comic world.
That is very true. That is a very true.
When's it debuting?
I think we're going to get the first episode up within 2 weeks, just once we get everything kind of squared away.
When does it debut?
Oh man, the two of you guys working your names in, it's gonna be worth the listen.
When we were having that Instagram live, there was like one thought that really embedded itself for me, and I think it resonated with Dave. And then there's a variety. See, Dave and I are different. That's the other thing. I have a better dynamic with people that I'm different than, right? But respect. Justin and I, very different. We obviously have I shouldn't say it's weird but we have a great dynamic. I know it's better. It's not supposed to compliment yourself, so on and so forth. But we have a great dynamic, or else we wouldn't be 60 weeks in, right? And Dave and I, and the same thing is, the differences, but also commonalities. Justin and I, and Dave and I, and it was just this thought of like the conversations that we have on the phone, let's record them. That's essentially what it was, right? And sometimes names have to get left out because we don't want anyone to feel attacked. But just while we were recording the episodes, which they'll get better over time, we're just learning and figuring it out, like what that flow is supposed to be. But I was like, man, a lot of you guys are going to hear about yourselves. If we had an interaction that I was irritated by, but you don't know it, you're going to hear about it on the show. We're never going to say your name, but you're going to hear that scenario be discussed on the show.
Talking about me?
It's funny. Like we talked about it, not using names, but I'm like, if there is something positive, well, there you go. If it's positive. I did name names. Andrew gets talked about in the first 2 episodes because we just talk about like social media and branding, and Justin gets named too because we were talking. You were talking about a story about you and Justin, and it's just like there's no need to drag anybody through the mud by name, but there is always a benefit to lifting people up and by name, because like, if I'm going to talk about somebody that I appreciate what they're doing, I want people to know that, because then they might appreciate what they're doing. So
no, beautifully said. If it's positive, we are putting that on a pedestal. If it's negative, we're not giving them any notoriety. We're not going to promote the brand or the name of something, but we will tell the story, because the story can serve a purpose. You can learn from the story, or you could just enjoy the fact that we might have had a really crappy day because we dealt with some annoying individuals, and that's funny. In retrospect, Dave and I enjoy all of the things that make us mad because we get to have a heated argument about it.
Well, storytelling is a fun thing, right? We don't read stories for the most part because we want everything to be perfect. Like there's no joy in everything being exactly how it should be. Comic books, movies, there's got to be some struggle. And so in real life, I don't want to tell a story about how I got something. It was so easy. And it was, like, I want to tell the story that gets me animated. If my blood's boiling just a little bit, I'm not going to be like flying angry like the Hulk, but if my blood's boiling just a little bit, you're gonna enjoy it, because I want to tell that. I want to get it out, and I want to tell it in a funny way or an animated way. And so that's what this podcast is going to serve, a lot of that. But there's going to be so much we're going to talk about. I can, without spoiling the first 2 episodes, there is I go on a tirade, an anti-racist tirade in the comic book community, and I get really animated because there's nothing that makes me angry than people co-opting certain characters for a racist agenda, because that's not what Stan Lee or Jack Kirby or Chris Claremont or any of these people created these characters for. And I am not censoring myself on the podcast. So.
There we go. There it is.
Uncensored.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
it's uncensored. It's uncensored.
Well, and I want to say this because I just want to acknowledge it. What I didn't hear you say was that this show isn't a place where you can be honest and isn't a place where you can talk about difficult things, or isn't a place. But there is a huge intention in that the language here, is curbed, right? I'll use Curb Your Enthusiasm. Like it is curbed, but there's a real deep purpose in it for me, right?
Sure.
And you guys honor it so well. I'm very grateful.
It's a respect thing.
And, it doesn't mean that it's not some things you want to say with, all the words of your vocabulary, right?
Yeah.
And there are those who want to hear it with all the words of your vocabulary. And I'm glad to hear that there's going to be a space and place. Dave, not that we don't get enough of you, right? But the more we can get them anew makes me happy.
Sure. I'm in that same boat.
Yeah.
I feel very we also talked about gratefulness and gratitude. And I was very honest and open in the sense that, the gratitude that I felt for getting like really, nice messages sent to me a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, was this different level of gratitude. Right now, these days, and this is unfortunate, and I'm trying to remind myself, I almost have to remind myself to feel heavier gratitude. I don't want to remind myself. I want to be in a place where I'm really appreciative, right? But sometimes, this is a really funny thing to say, but sometimes you get used to being appreciated for something and you start to take that for granted. And that is really unfortunate, right? For everybody involved, it's unfortunate because you don't feel fueled about it anymore. You don't feel like you're doing something that's like magical, and you don't want to get in that zone. And I feel really grateful that I have friends like yourself, Justin, and Dave that recognize things in me enough to say, I want you to be a part. I want to do something with you. Like, how good that makes me feel to know that I have some trait that you guys would be willing to spend hours of your weeks with and dedicate time and effort into producing something with, right? And it's like, that gives me massive gratitude. And I needed this reminder because I started to get a little like complacent, maybe is the word. Like I did. There was just something else, man. Like 3 years ago when I first got on Instagram, we told this story on the podcast, and we're going to talk more about these emotional things, but I was coming from a place of some sadness. There were things that I was leaving behind in my personal life, and I was leaving behind human beings. I was leaving behind belongings. I was leaving behind a profession because they didn't fulfill me. It didn't deliver to me what I thought that effort would equate to. And so I started from not scratch, but I started from inside. I let go of everything and I started from inside. And when I started being appreciated for it, rewarded for it, and my friendship started to be created, the audience started to grow. That feeling of gratitude was so pure. That's all I could feel. When someone would send me a nice message or buy something from me, it was a moving experience. It was something that could make you cry. When I say sold thank you, that comes from a place of like, I cannot believe you bought this from me, and freaking thank you, man. Like I used to write messages in the middle of the night on my Instagram stories that were just me writing poems to people that just want to see comic books about how grateful I am that I'm here. Yeah. And I'm oftentimes reminded of that emotion, but I haven't felt it the same way. And I need to put myself back in a position where I'm reminded of it in that same way. Like I just think it's really important. And so doing something fresh, being scared of something fresh, and looking forward to it being appreciated is kind of like it's kind of reawakening that passion for me. So I like that a lot.
Awesome, very cool.
Well said.
Thank you. It was fun.
You'll be proud of me. This past Saturday, I can't think of another time that I did it. I'm not gonna say I haven't done it, but we're like 450 videos in or something like that. So I don't recall all of them quickly. But I ordered 5 MCU Marvel Allure boxes Marvel Studio boxes, and 2 of them belonged to Daniel Dunn. He got his, so I had 3 left. And I was talking to my wife Friday night. I was like, babe, I want to open these. Like, I want to enjoy them, but I don't collect these. Like, I don't have an intention to collect them. And I was like, I think what I'm gonna do is I think I'm gonna like make a post and say, hey, if somebody wants to buy these, they're cheaper than I'm gonna post them cheaper than Dave and Adam's ship.
Yeah.
Right?
It's sold. They sold.
Yeah, they both sold. Very happy. Yeah. So I got to enjoy opening them and create the content and have the conversations that creates and what it does for the channel, which is all very important to me. And I shipped them the same day.
Oh my gosh. Your story actually said that. You said it will ship today.
Yeah, that's right. That's
and
right.
You did.
I shipped both of them that day. So I was like, all right, I can do this. You know, and I've hired some help. So I got a young guy coming twice a week. This past week was the second week where he's been in the hobby room, helping me organize some stuff and get some stuff where, you know, those type of things will be a lot easier for me moving forward. But anyways, that was a really cool experience, and it has me, you know, like, you know, being awake to the fact that, you know, I might do that a few more times in the future. We'll see how it plays out. If it becomes too much of a burden, I'm not going to do it. But
yeah,
that wasn't too bad.
You'll know if it does. You'll know it. If it doesn't, then you'll be fine with it.
Yeah, it was great. I really enjoyed it. I want to get to these comments here. HH says authenticity is rare these days, so appreciating it when we see it, see that trait in our community goes a long way.
And I love that. I agree. Mm-hmm. Mattis, thank you. RMS, thank you. HH and I go way back, which is so funny. It's so funny. That's so cool. A Venom card connected us about 3 years ago, two years ago.
My buddy Keith is awake. He's on the East Coast. He must have woke up in the middle of the night. Check this out.
Oh, Keith, what up?
By the way, Justin, I'll see you in New York in October.
Oh man, that's exciting.
Booked my flight. Yeah. So
well, I haven't booked anything. They haven't made the tickets available yet, right?
I actually don't know. I got a buddy that I think I'm getting a pass from. So
is this New York Comic-Con?
Okay.
Yeah, New York Comic-Con.
Nice.
Yeah, I do intend to be there. There's a few things like I've been asked to perform in the Dracula ballet in the fall, and I'm not going to be Dracula, but I do want to do that. Yeah, Dracula is awesome, but if that's in October, there's a chance that would overlap during those times. So there's a couple of things I've got to work out there. But Keith got lost in Diablo.
Oh, that's right.
Which is the new video game, right?
Yeah, it came out last week or 2 weeks ago or something.
Yeah. JBiz says he'll be there if all goes as planned.
I will say this: you're giving me one of, if you are there, I'm taking you to Ruby Rosa for the best Italian food you're ever gonna have.
There's that name, Ruby Rosa. That's right. You did mention
Ruby Rosa.
Yeah, I mentioned it.
You talked about it last time you were in New York. Yeah.
Yeah.
I went to an Italian restaurant near Broadway, but I can't remember the name of it.
You want to stay away from that area. It's a tourist trap.
Look, I don't have a choice.
Greatest tourist trap. Yeah,
I don't have a choice. That's where my wife and my daughter are going to make me go. You know, we're going to New York in
December.
No, in July.
Oh,
yeah. So Florida this week, 2 weeks Canada with you, and then New York, maybe Chicago to National.
Busy.
There's another potential Florida trip that's up in the air right now, and then hopefully New York again in the fall.
It's a lot.
Yeah, it is busy.
Maybe it's like I don't want to get on a plane.
Canada, you say? Well, Victoria.
Mattis, you're in Canada?
Yeah, he's Edmonton.
What coast is Edmonton?
It's closer to it's like Western Canada, but not completely Western Canada.
Cool.
Wait, Justin, you're coming to Victoria, Canada?
Yeah.
Wait, like Victoria over on this side?
I'm flying into Seattle. Yeah.
Oh. All right.
Yeah, why don't you hop up to Seattle on the 27th?
He's in Seattle.
I'm in Seattle, yeah.
Yeah.
What?
He's about 20 minutes away from where I live.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
I was thinking you were in Cali this whole time.
No, I'm in Seattle.
He's got a Cali vibe, this guy.
He's a little, but you're a little too nerdy for California. That's why you're up. That's why you're up here
This
with
is
us.
making more sense now.
Yeah.
Boris says he got his NYCC tickets. I haven't seen an email, and I'm on
Who
the
said that?
list.
Oh, Boris, what up? Boris, where's it? Wait, where's Boris's comment? It's on the
so
screen, but where is it in our chat?
I'm streaming live from my channel too.
Oh, wow.
So some of those comments, I guess Justin and I are the only ones that could see it.
Oh, that makes sense.
Oh,
Yeah.
if there's anybody that made a comment that I didn't acknowledge, I am so sorry. I can't see him. Boris, my guy, what's up?
Yeah. So I took a cue from Neo and I signed into my account because might as well bring in as many people as we can.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't understand. How did he get a ticket?
Maybe that, you know what, I think I think some people got emailed for it because they do it as like a lottery or something. I'm not sure.
Well, I wonder if it's like a
RMS
VIP
story.
thing.
Maybe. Oh, by the way, for anybody that watches Justin's channel that is living in the Washington area, I'm going to be at SummerCon tabling June 23rd, 24th, 25th. So come say hi. If you sing the West Coast Avengers theme to me, I'll give you something for free.
I'll be there on Sunday, Dave.
I know, but I already know you. I'll give you something for, I'll hook you up because I know you already. But if I don't know you, when you come up and you're like, West Coast Avengers, then you get something for free.
Justin, I would like the screen, please.
That's what it was, VIP or pre-sale. Okay. You have it, my friend.
Hi, everybody. Okay, so RMS, our friend, he's here with us. We did a trade. Now, we've done several trades, and I love trading with him. And a long time ago, I picked up what at that time was a Pop 1. It was the PSA 9 of the insert, the Prism insert from the 1994 Marvel Pepsi Mexico set. Like the set itself is this Pepsi variant of the 94 Flair set. But the insert set is actually entirely different. Where 94 Flair has Power Blasts, the Mexico Pepsi set took different artwork that was actually from the 94 Marvel Universe set, right? For example, the Maximum Carnage card. And so I had the PSA 9 of this, which was a Pop 1 for a long time, but now there's a Pop 1 of the PSA 10, and RMS Collects actually ended up with it. And I definitely wanted it. And so, one day there were some things that we were talking about a trade, so on and so forth, and how we could make something happen. And really, I was like, man, I want that. I want that Pepsi Mexico PSA 10. And we weren't able to work it out because it has to be right on all sides. And I said, wait a second, how about I give you the Pepsi Mexico PSA 9, so you still have one, and it's still rare, and cash on top. And then we figured a price, we did the trade, and so now I have the 10.
Oh, there it is.
The only 10. Not only that, I didn't know this until RMS mentioned it, is out of all of the inserts from this set, this is the only 10 graded from all of the inserts across all of the inserts. So it's the Pepsi Mexico 10.
Oh, wow.
And look at me. Yeah.
Imagine if that was a compelling villain.
To me, it is a compelling villain. I'll stay out of that argument.
I don't know.
Look how much cooler it is.
I'm just kidding. I'm messing with Dave.
I know.
Is that the trade that you got that gifted that other Carnage card?
Yeah. So, and that's the other part of the story. So a few days ago, a week ago, I actually purchased this card on eBay.
Nice.
And then when that trade came in, I didn't know what else. I didn't know there was a gift in there, but RMS has a way of doing things. There's love here. It's not just cards here. And RMS is really that guy.
Mm-hmm.
He sent me one.
Oh,
That's
wow.
how great of a gifter. And it's a PSA 10. Not only is it something that I went out on my own and purchased because I like it, he knows so well that he actually sent me something that I paid for a few days prior.
Manu, I just say you put that on your story that he gifted it to you. So I messaged him after that. And I was like, just FYI, I accept gifts as well.
I'm a Silver Surfer fan.
Yeah, I just put it out there.
RMS is amazing. And that's why I was like, well, I'm selling one. Oh, it's a sales stream now. I'm selling one.
Yeah.
RMS sent me something that I bought. Like, how incredible is that? I have the 10. Dude, this card to me is super dope. Super. It's the
Mhm.
coolest version of this artwork. Because in the US sets for Universe, we have the standard one, and then there's the gold one, and I believe there's like a silver one, right? Of this,
Yeah.
I think. But this one, the Prism one, yo, this is the one. It
Yeah,
checks
that's a
all
great
the
looking
boxes
card.
for me. So RMS, thank you, my friend. Always a pleasure. And I'm glad that we both still have the Pepsi Mexico cards in our set, you know.
Yeah.
Cool.
I
The
would
highest
just
graded ones.
I would just like to push back with, can somebody name me a really good Carnage storyline to read?
Maximum Carnage. Just go read it.
I said a really good Carnage
All right.
storyline. I said
Okay.
really,
All
really
right.
good. You know, like I never read Carnage. It's a Wonderful
I
Life.
mean, Carnage.
Or,
Ooh,
Carnage was a
got this recently.
part
Look at
of
this thing.
Null.
yeah. So I read Maximum Carnage, which I forget what they called it when they did it right
Yeah.
before Null came out. It was good. It was really good. It was the closest. Donny Cates writing Carnage was the closest thing that Marvel has done to a good horror book in like 25 years.
Right.
Oh, Mind Bomb. I never read Mind Bomb.
Mind Bomb.
Mind Bomb good?
I never read Mind Bomb. I know when that came out. That's like mid to late 90s. I know the cover of it. By the way, I don't know if you want, I could table this till next week, but I was going to open this to see if I could pull a Pedro autograph. But I can hold it.
It depends on how tired Justin is, but let's see
Exactly.
what he says.
So, I'll just be honest. I have been up since 3 a.m.
Oof.
and I need to get up pretty close to 6 a.m. in the morning.
No, you need to go to
And
sleep.
it's almost 3 a.m. where you're at. It's 2 a.m.
It's
almost.
12:50.
It's
12:50.
12.
It's almost 1
Oh, it
a.m.
is. Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I can get
you're right.
a good 5 hours sleep. But I do want to be present for my family tomorrow.
Sure.
On vacation, and me being a zombie would not be that.
That's why it's 2 hours. You're on the Panhandle right now.
Well, it's actually still Central Standard Time.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The Panhandle is.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. Sorry, I missed it. See, my brain's just.
It's okay.
It's running on fumes. But what a fun show, guys! 3 hours goes by quick.
Yeah, this is great.
Certainly
Yeah,
does.
definitely.
It certainly does.
And Rohan got to join us for the whole thing, which is awesome.
Hey, yeah, Rohan.
Yeah,
That's
thanks,
actually
Rohan.
really dope. Yeah,
Yeah, no, thanks for having me.
for
Yeah.
sure.
Thank you for having me, Justin.
Oh, always, man.
And thanks everyone for having me. I appreciate it. I don't know. I'm just really happy. All right.
And I'm just glad y'all want to be here. Makes me want to bring all this on a vacation with me so that I can.
We've got a lot to be
make sure we
grateful
get-
for.
Get here. I got data wire running out the patio window, and I've got
That's
plugs out here
amazing.
on the patio, getting my light and my computer charging. So it worked out well. And I brought
You
my
always
mic.
make it happen.
Yeah.
Well, takes intention, right? These things don't happen on accident. That's for sure.
Yeah.
High state. Yeah. No, man. Happy to do it. Guys, Miles Morales, Spider-Gwen.
Gratitude, bro.
Yeah. There's a lot of other characters we can't mention just by virtue of not wanting to be spoiler filled, but looking forward to down the road when the spoiler,
like next
time
week.
frame is lifted. Yeah. And we can talk more about the show. It'll be good. But no, that's look, that is the word.
That's dude.
Yes.
The
here's
word.
It's actually been a really important word for me for the last 2 weeks. And not for any like that I need it in the sense of something was going wrong. It just became really apparent to me. And then I'm watching a video of Michael J. Fox, who obviously deals with Parkinson's, I believe it is.
Yeah.
And he was just saying, look, I get through it with gratitude. Gratitude's how I get through. And it's really important. I say it's really important. It's just, it's meant a lot to me. And so I can only point to that. And man, be thankful for what you got, and don't get too caught up in what you don't have.
Yeah.
You said it, my friend. You said
It's good.
Echo that statement 100%.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You guys give us a lot to be grateful for. We do appreciate you. And what does gratitude lead to? Well, I think it leads to a marvelous day, which is what I always want you to have. Everybody, thank you for watching. And as always, hope you have a marvelous day.